Welcome back to AGDQ 2026. This is LEGO Star Wars for the complete saga. This is the first time we've ever ran this game at AGDQ, and it's a long time come, and we are super excited to show off the any % category, where we will complete all 6 Star Wars episodes, all 36 levels as fast as possible during the Eastern breakfast hour. Let's have a good time.
True.
And we're going to hop right into the run because we're going to have plenty of unskippable cutscenes to explain everything. So we're going to count down from, let's count down from 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
All right, and starting off the run here, there are 6 episodes, but only the first one, The Phantom Menace, is unlocked from the start. So that's going to be the one that we're going to hop right into, Negotiations, the iconic first level of LEGO Star Wars, into our first unskippable cutscene. Many people find these cutscenes to be very charming and fun, so feel free to enjoy them as we're rambling about what to expect in the run coming up here. And this first level here is about as simple as it gets. We're basically just running to the end, but we are going to introduce probably what is going to be the biggest and most unique part of this game in LEGO speedruns in general, and that is the concept of 1P2C, or 1 player, 2 controllers. And with that, I'm going to be controlling 2 players at the same time to do stuff faster, whether it's building 2 things at once or having 1 player run forward while the other is killing enemies. So we're going to see right here, I have 2 players called in. I have 1 on the keyboard and 1 on the controller, using 1 hand to control each one. And like I said, this level is about as simple as it gets. We're just booking it to the end. And I guess as we're doing that, I will take a chance to let our commentators introduce themselves. We have Chimkin, Hav, and P53 in the back. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good early morning, you know.
Yeah.
No better place to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and here we are. We're going to come meet our first new character, TC14. And coming into the final room of the level here, I'm going to try to very deliberately die at specific times to get my character to have 0 of these coins called studs. So I died with player 1 and they have 0. And then with player 2 here, I'm going to try to also intentionally die with them right here and go ahead and drop them out, which kind of takes them out of my control. And then warp TC to the end, use this panel, and head right into the ship. And that is 1 out of 36 levels already done.
Blink and you miss them, folks.
Yeah, and the upside of, you may be wondering, why am I trying to get 0 of the studs/coins? And this is the only level in the game where I cannot skip this sort of status screen where it tells me everything I collected at the end of the level. And all the other levels, you can just spam right through it, but in this level, you can't. And by us getting 0 studs, we don't have to watch the animation of the studs collecting into our bank. A nice little 7-second time save. And we're going to head right into the second level. I am going to save the game. Normally we would cancel the save because it's a little faster to not wait for the game to save. But for the sake of, marathon safety, we're going to take every protocol we can to make sure that we're not doing anything risky.
Do we have cat guys on the stage?
Do we?
Hell yeah.
Danny sent in $10, said, I have 3 rescue kitties, but the one most appropriately named for AGDQ is a fluffy boy I named Ganon, or Clawamity Ganyan.
Very nice. I think people will be disappointed to find out I'm allergic to cats.
Oh,
Also,
really?
Me too, I just suffer through it.
Take a moment here. We are going to change our refresh rate on top of this tree, and by forcing the tree, it didn't work. So I was supposed to clip out of bounds there, and that was going to be the first example of an out of bounds trick of the run. Unfortunately, you only get 1 try to do it, and it seems like it did not want to work today. So we are not going to see the first out of bounds here, but don't worry, we have tons of out of bounds tricks to come up in the future. Or perhaps fortunately, we get to watch this cutscene now. We were going to skip this cutscene, but now we get to meet our good friend Jar Jar and see what he's doing.
Yeah, and that refresh rate change that was done earlier, there are certain tricks that you can only do at 60 hertz, some you can only do at 50, some rare ones you can only do at 40. So throughout the run, you're going to see him sort of go into the menu and do those switches to try to get those tricks to happen pretty often.
All right, so we're gonna do some crazy parkour here with Jar Jar. And just kind of leave the rest of our team behind. some tricky jumps here. These are very tight timings, but we can jump up here.
Yeah. Jar Jar can jump higher,
nice.
and he can also move faster than everyone else. But unfortunately, this is like the only 2 minutes of the run that we get to use him for. So that's barely relevant to the run, unfortunately.
Well, you got the early showcase, you know. You got to.
Yeah, we did hit all
Burn it off
three
quick.
of the tough Jar Jar jumps there, which you love to see. It's a good omen for the rest of the run.
Yeah, and here you'll notice Justin picked up a power-up. Those are also going to be pretty common throughout the game. They let you do things faster, which Jar Jar can't really do, but they also make you invincible. So there it's used so that those droids don't kill you while you're trying to do that last Jar Jar jump into the end.
And we're just going to take one final run here, and we are now 2 out of 36 levels done in the run.
Woo!
Yeah, the prequel levels tend to be a little bit shorter and more simple, at least in the design of the levels. So those will kind of fly by a little faster. Once we get to the original trilogy levels, those get a little more involved.
And there is a reason for that. For anyone who is unaware, this game is like technically a remaster, kind of. Before this game came out, there was Lego Star Wars, the video game, and Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. And those two games, one of them, Lego Star Wars, the video game, had the prequel levels, and Lego Star Wars 2 had the original trilogy levels. And then 1 year later, they made this game, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, combined them all into one fully polished out game that came out in the great age of 2007. So coming up on almost 20 years old in about a year and a half.
Yeah, and we're going to see some levels that in LEGO Star Wars 1, they didn't quite have the difficulty tuned in. For those who have played LEGO Star Wars 1 Pod Race, you know what I'm talking about. So we'll be seeing the remastered version of those pretty soon.
And we are meeting some new friends here. Our first blaster characters.
The interesting thing about blasters in this game is the targeting is like very new gamer friendly, I'll say. It likes to try and predict what you're trying to shoot at and just kind of throw your bullets right at it.
So we got a cool skip here. Blink and you'll miss it. We're up there now.
Super quick.
Yeah. There's some interesting collision in certain areas of this game that you can just kind of run into, and sometimes it'll let you warp up like that.
This level might be the easiest in the run. It's pretty much one of the few levels that has like no glitches. And we're basically just trying to beeline to the end of the level as fast as possible.
Yeah.
There is one little trick at the end, which we'll get to in a moment.
That is one of the nice pacing things about this run. I feel like you really feel the difficulty ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get to the end, we'll get to what we call a gauntlet,
Yeah.
which is the last 3 levels. But you really, it's a nice warm up over here.
You'll see the targeting thing again here. So there's these 4 targets you need to shoot, but it'll just kind of throw your bullets over at those 2 off screen. It knows that's what you want to shoot at, and you don't really have to use the other elevator there. We have a little bit of a piece of tech here coming up. So throughout the game, there are these like camera pans in game, and right at the beginning of them, you can move for a small amount of time. And if you switch characters, like
I missed it.
if you switch characters during the beginning of a camera pan in that brief period, it'll just skip it. But no worries, we'll get plenty of opportunities to see that again later on in the run.
All right. Well, now that one of the easiest levels is done, we're about to jump into what is probably the hardest level in the entire run. Not for the reason you would expect, but I'll leave P53 to start talking about the iconic pod race level.
Yeah, next, Justin's not exaggerating at all here. It's probably the hardest level in the run. And you might be surprised to hear that, because if you're familiar with this game, the next race is the pod race level. It's typically just a 3-lap race, and most of it is basically just an auto-scroller. But you're going to see there's a very flashy trick coming up on the next level if he's able to get it. But very hard.
Yeah, this trick is extremely difficult, and because of that, there's absolutely no guarantee I get it. It's a one-try trick, and even when I'm running back at home, consistency is low. This is the first big reset point in the run if you're doing world record attempts.
Yeah, the big thing that Justin's going to want to do is to get out of bounds immediately on this level. Normally, when you're on the intended part of the track, the game will just pull you on this predefined path. However, if you are able to get far enough away from the existing track, the game will actually not know what direction to pull you. So it'll actually apply a constant forward force to your pod racer. And there's actually no speed cap on this constant forward force. So you'll see the pod racers hopefully going much faster than they probably ever were intended to here.
Yeah, so we're going to try to clip out of bounds here. It's going to look very weird if I hit it. It'll look like nothing happened if I miss it.
All right, let's see.
That's good. Woo! And he's gonna.
Oh, all right, it's not
Okay,
over
right.
yet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see if we can save this. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. So what Justin wanted to get there was a little bit of a height boost because, as I said, you want to get far enough away from the track such that the game doesn't try to pull you back onto the inside of the track.
There was an explosion.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, now you see he's now already skipped halfway across the track there. So that's the first part, lap 1.
Yeah, this is part 1 of 3 of the skip. So that skips the first portion of lap 1. And now we're going to set up for the lap 2 skip. There's just this rock here that we can just... We're out of bounds.
Yeah, and he is going to do this instead of going to lap 2 normally because he wants to keep his player 1 out of bounds for the lap 2 skip here. So by having his P2 go to the finish line there, he's able to do that. So now you're going to see what he's going to do. He's going to drop out his player 2 and now use his out of bounds player 1 to aim at this section of the track. You might wonder why he's not aiming at the finish line, and that's because he has to hit this mandatory checkpoint here. Like a lot of other racing games, like Mario Kart, there's mandatory checkpoints you must hit for a lap to count.
And that's lap 2.
Oh, gotta try to skip lap 3 too. But I gotta get that height boost, which is very, very precise. And now that I've missed it, it becomes even harder to do. But I do want to get it. Oh, kind of bumped there. I might be too far forward on the track at this point to hit it. Oh,
Yep.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go.
I believe in
very
you,
good.
WiiSuper.
Yeah. With that, he should be able to just zoom across and finish the lap there. You might have saw also that, like compared to lap 1, he actually went into control setup for just a little bit.
okay, something weird happened. I'm trying to think what to do here.
Yeah.
It's a strategy game. It's turn-based.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're still out of bounds.
Okay.
And that should hit
Okay.
checkpoint. Yeah.
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 All right.
We're gonna
We're
be
gonna have
back.
to do a little bit of backwards driving
Yeah,
here,
that
but
happens.
we
Yeah.
skip most of the lap.
It's my favorite part of a Phantom Menace when he does this.
And with that, that should be
A
Yep.
very
Yes.
interesting pod
Yeah.
race.
For the few people in the audience here, let's get a big round of applause
Yeah.
for that. We cannot underestimate how hard that trick is.
Good racing.
You can probably see by how many finicky adjustments he was making, there are many ways to mess up that trick. And most of those ways will require you to reset the level, pretty much. So,
Yeah. And it's also one of the only levels in the game where I'm using 3 input devices instead of 2. I have 2 controllers on the desk and the keyboard there because the game kind of like starts to break down when you're constantly switching input devices and everything for that trick. It's a bunch of technical things, but we're moving on to the next level now, so
Yeah.
that's long in the past now, but we're going to head into the 5th level of episode 1, and this is a pretty long cutscene here, so
You got some love coming in for from your community.
yeah, so take the time, go for it,
All
go for it,
right.
Max.
So from $25 from Pernst, thank you, WiiSuper, for everything you've done for the LEGO speedrunning community. Your time, passion, and dedication helped grow something small into a welcoming and thriving space. I hope all goes well on the run, but if you get stuck, I hear spinning is a good trick.
Yeah, shout out to Prince, OG legend.
Or Anakin sends in $100 and says, "Is there sand in this run? I don't like sand."
I'll go out of my way to find some sand just to annoy them.
Yeah.
We've also got $25 from Albert. Good morning, GDQ. Fun Pittsburgh fact, there is still, in 2026, an original Episode 1 The Phantom Menace promotional Pepsi vending machine outside of a fire station on Mount Washington here in the city. Make a pilgrimage if you have time, and may the Force be with you all.
We got to go right after this round.
What a
This is great.
after run meetup right there.
Yeah.
yeah, so right here, you're going to see Justin use the speeder here, and he's going to use this vehicle to clip out of bounds right there. And you're going to see that come up on a couple of levels after this. So now he's going to be going into this button room here that has a lot of enemies. You're supposed to kill all these enemies coming up here. but he's going to try to path the AI in such a way such that all the characters can get to the buttons.
Oh, looks like this one Droidica is always the annoying one. He's blocking this button here, but we can keep everyone else alive.
Yeah, generally the AI is smart enough to try to accomplish the objective you're trying to do. They're just not smart enough to figure out how to do it sometimes, especially when there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, which is actually why it's very good for us to just keep both players dropped in a lot of the times, because we have full control over what the AI does in that case.
We're a little bit smarter.
Yeah, he's going to be building this panel here, and now he's going to be getting into this this next room here, which we call Feed 1. You're going to see him do a swap. Well, actually, he's actually going to go right off to the left here. The normal way you're supposed to accomplish this room, you're supposed to go off to the right, force a staircase, and get all of your party members up to the top ledge there. But he's going to skip all of that by doing this tricky platforming here with both of the players.
So let's see, there's part 1.
Well done.
First try.
Yeah. So you're supposed to have all your characters up here. So the intended way is to have Anakin use that tiny hatch there to hit the button, but we can just force the other character up like that and get to the next room. Here, he's going to be killing his player right here. And what he's going to try to do is he's going to have him respawn in the other player to push him through the transition.
We'll try it again.
And there it is, yeah. And here's a good time to show the out-of-bounds mechanics in this game. If you are under a floor, even though it doesn't look like you're standing on anything, you can stand under as long as you're somewhat close to the floor. You can also infinitely jump up if you're under a floor here, which is what he's doing there to pathfind around there.
And if you stop moving, you fall. So you effectively have like perfect vertical control too.
Yeah.
And that just skips the whole room.
Yeah, and then this last part of the level, there's still a whole lot to do. Normally, what you're supposed to do in the final part of this level is you go to this hangar and you're supposed to free these 6 pilots. And we're going to use that very lenient auto aim that Chimkin talked about earlier to shoot these pilots from much further away than we used to. But here, he's going to do that camera pan skip that we talked about in Escape. So each of these swaps here will skip the camera pan, and you see while he's doing that, he's multitasking, shooting those first 2 droids to free those pilots. He's going to get another shot off here up top.
Now, why did he not shoot that one over there?
Yeah, so he's actually delaying this one so he can get his Jedi over to this starfighter to force it. Because the way, if you force a object during one of these cutscenes, you can actually keep control of your characters. So that lets him move R2 to the panel and save some more time there. Very well played.
Nice. That's 5 levels done.
Very clean.
Yeah, and Feed Palace there, I think that's a good sampling for like what a lot of the original trilogy levels look like. A lot longer than the first couple levels we played, a lot more puzzles involved, a lot more skips, went out of bounds twice. So we'll see a lot more stuff like that later on in the run.
And with that, we are officially on to our final level of the first episode, none other than the Darth Maul boss fight. Except we're going to skip half of the fight.
I've got another donation in from your community here. $10 from Nar, who says, "Greeting from Brazil. Happy to finally see one of the greatest speed games in GDQ. As someone who played this game as a kid a lot, I was blown away by the outrageous glitches and tech in this run. Good luck to WiiSuper. May the 1P2C be with you."
Yo, thank you, Anhar. All right, so this is the very first room of Darth Maul, and we have a little boss fight with him here, but we're going to use a random lamp off to the right here to skip it. Just like
nice.
Getting that with getting shot, like that's very difficult to do. You get a little pushback on that shot there. That was very impressive.
Okay, I'm at 1 heart, which is not the end of the world. If I do die, it's a 2-second time loss to respawn and keep going. But, you know, ideally we try to minimize dying as much as possible. And there's a group of droids here that are almost positively going to hit me. Yeah.
That was quick.
But that's all good. Like I said, just respawn and we keep going.
Yeah, into this next room here. So this is a room that theoretically we might possibly be able to find a way to skip at some point, but as of right now, we still have to play through this casually. So we triggered this cutscene and Darth Maul does his little walk over here.
This is really like one of the only rooms left in the entire game that doesn't have some way of skipping it. Like there's maybe like literally like 2 or 3 rooms left that we don't have a way of skipping at all, and this is one of them. So, you know, somebody get on that.
Yeah, and at the beginning here, you're going to see one type of 1P2C. We call this a deployment 1P2C. We send a player off far away to accomplish a goal and then drop them out. And because we didn't send both players over there, we have the other player closer to the next objective. So we deploy them over to that objective, and we save the time of backtracking, basically. So because we've killed those 2 commander droids, we've now gotten rid of all these enemies. We got some droidicas coming up here, and we'll see a couple more effects of the power-up here. So on top of invincibility, it also gives you deflect bolts, and it also doubles the damage of your blaster, which makes killing these droidicas way faster.
Yeah, power-ups are OP, overpowered. They just everything about them.
Yeah. It's unfortunate this is the only LEGO game that they put the power-ups in. They invented them for this game, and then they got rid of them, and they never put it in any of the next 23 games that came out after this.
And this is an instance where 1P2C saves way more time than you would think by just being able to force both of these at the same time, rather than having to wait for your CPU to catch up.
So if you like frame-perfect tricks...
Okay, I got one of the frame
Nice.
perfects. So
Yeah.
you can explain why Darth Maul didn't jump away that first time there.
Yeah, so basically during this fight, it's scripted so that every time he's on an even number of hearts, he jumps away from you. But if you hit him twice on the same frame, it basically skips that. So you can skip it twice, and WiiSuper got the first of the 2 there. But obviously it's a frame-perfect trick, so getting 1 of 2 is very good. And that's episode 1.
That's episode 1.
Would you like an update on the favorite Lego set donation train?
Absolutely.
Okay, we've got $5 in from Choco Boat, hauntingly menacing beginning to a great run. Phantom Menace is what got me into a Star Wars as a kid, so will always have a special place in my heart. Let's raise our lightsabers to beat cancer. Also $5 from Catherine H. Living my best life with Lego flowers. My house is full of them. Love Star Wars, special place in my heart, great cause, well done, everybody involved.
Awesome. And, tragic. But there we go. The first episode is done, and at the end of every episode, there's an additional cutscene that plays called the Finished Story cutscene. But the game actually saves before that cutscene plays, so it's faster to just close and reopen the game instead of watching that cutscene. So that's what we're going to do. We just closed and reopened the game, and we're going to be on our way to the second episode of the run, which is going to be episode 2.
Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily obvious that the second episode would be episode 2, because later on you're going to see that there's a specific routing we take to get red bricks, and this is going to be one of the first episodes where red bricks matter, and that's to sort of have, you know, the red brick special abilities for then other levels in other episodes.
Yeah, and if you're not aware, a red brick is basically every level has this red brick collectible you can pick up, and grabbing it unlocks the ability to purchase a power-up in the shop that's just constantly active, and there's a handful of them that are fast enough to get an any percent that they end up saving time.
Yeah.
So all that matters, we're not going to episode 2 because it's the second episode. We're going to it because it actually is the fastest episode to go to next. Because we're allowed to do it, we can do the episodes in any order. We just have to beat all 6. Doesn't matter what order we do them in, and we're going to be kind of jumping around everywhere after the second episode here. But for now, we're going to head into our first true ship level of the run. I don't really count pod race. It's kind of different than the rest of the ship levels, but this is really the first real ship level, and it starts with a room where we just kind of drive to the end. Very exhilarating gameplay here. But after this first room, we get some very, very technical and challenging 1P2C, where I'm going to be, controlling both ships, completing these puzzles at the same time with, one hand on each player.
Yeah, and it might not, you might not be able to tell, but ship movement in this game is sort of weird. It's very counterintuitive with what the control inputs you have to make. So it can sometimes be very punishing. Once we get into this first section, it's going to be a little bit more obvious with the enclosed space.
And you may notice my ship's kind of bobbing back and forth. That is nothing besides the fact that I'm just playing with both players on a keyboard right now, so I can't drive in a perfectly straight line. But here we go. This first section here, I got to destroy these turrets and then hit these 2 lights. And then we get these pink balls, which are torpedoes.
And hitting those lights is also a little bit more difficult than it might seem. They're not very big hitboxes.
And that's the first laser section. And, you know, it's a blink and you'll miss it kind of room, but those are the kind of rooms that require, you know, a lot of practice. You know, I mean, if you want to go home and try to control 2 players at once, you can see it's definitely a tough skill to learn, and it's really like a lot of people's favorite parts about running Lego games, because it's something that carries over to, you know, all of the, you know, 25 mainline console Lego games, is that, you know, there's a co-op system, so, you know, you can control 2 players at once to make your run faster. And there is also a co-op category where you can have 2 players playing. You know, I could bring a friend to play with me. It's not as popular as the traditional solo run with 1P2C, mainly, I mean, for a couple reasons. Maybe people don't have friends to play with, or, you know, I mean, there's reasons, but that is an option as well that people do like to do.
Yeah, so same thing as before, we're going to get all of those turrets, but now there's, as you can see, some on the other side. And now we're going to go for these towers. Now you'll notice that Justin did not hit that middle tower. It was actually an oversight. That middle tower is not necessary to open the gate, so it just saves you a torpedo pickup, like a second or 2, but that does add up.
Yep, and now it's time for the really, really intense fight against Zam Wessel.
Yeah, super long fight, super difficult. Zam Wessel's going to be flying around a ton, so it might take maybe 20, 30 seconds. Never mind, it turns out if you fire really fast, Zamzel just dies instantly.
Yeah, she spawns in the line of fire.
Yeah.
So some fast spamming skills makes that the shortest boss fight in the entire game. And that's the first level of episode 2 down.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier that the complete Saga is a kind of remaster of the 2 games that came before it. That level, Bounty Hunter Pursuit, actually was not in the original Lego Star Wars, the video game. That was a original brand new level for this game. There was like some like beta version of it that didn't make it into the final cut. I think there's a video on YouTube that like the developer of the game was walking through it or something, but this was actually the first level of episode 2, which by the time you get to Camino in the movie is like 30 minutes into the movie. Yeah. So when you first play the Lego Star Wars, the video game, this is your first exposure to episode 2. This is a really fun level, Camino. There's a ton of skips. Starting right away here, you can kind of make a precise fly here with R4, get around a kill plane, and skip the intended bridge in this first room.
Very nice. Yeah, this level is just skip after skip after skip. I think, yeah, you can skip every single room in this level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a bit of tech in the next room. I'm going to try and explain quickly here. So we have this thing called a super jump. Basically, there's this animation state that AI characters go into if they get stuck. Like if an AI character is like stuck behind a barrel or something, they'll just leap to the last respawnable ground they were on. And as it turns out, you can kind of manipulate their respawn ground to put a line between where they got stuck and the respawn point that intersects out of bounds. Use the force while they're leaping, and then they can just land out of bounds. It's really hard to see on this specific trick because it's kind of behind a wall. We will do that, I think, 4 more times in the run, so we'll have an opportunity later on to talk about that super jump mechanic a little bit more.
And that skips a cutscene, by the way.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. Another piece of tech in the next room. So when you have 2 players and one of them is dropped out, if you go into certain areas and certain rooms, you can do what's known as a drop-in warp, where it basically warps your characters to a further along intended path. So you go in this corner here, it thinks you're in this room at the end of this hallway. R4 just drops in this room, you skip that hallway, which also skips a cutscene. That's 2 cutscenes we've skipped in this level already.
And we got another one coming up in a bit.
So we skipped the cutscene where we found out about the clone army. We also skipped the cutscene where we learned that Jango Fett is here. So now we're just chasing Jango Fett because that was during the cutscene.
And these bombs, you can just jump around. Like the hitbox does not extend to outside the bridge, so that's a nice little time save there. Chasing down Jango here. And there's going to be this red button, and we're going to go and press it, but I'm going to come up to it, and I can't press it yet. We just have to wait. Mm-hmm. We're too fast.
Yeah, and we'll have another drop-in warp here in a moment. So you'll see WiiSuper goes ahead with just R4. He's going to touch this button, which turns on the bridge, so Obi-Wan can get over, and he's going to go over here kind of behind the elevator, drop in Obi-Wan, and he'll just be in the elevator through the door. So that's just a AI oversight where they can kind of warp through doors sometimes when you go to certain areas. And we have one more out of bounds trick right here at the end. So you can set your respawn point underneath this block of forcible objects, and it'll kind of push you out of bounds, which you can then go under the floor, skip a third cutscene, and now we skip the cutscene of us going out here to meet Django. Now we're just in the boss fight.
And there was something very specific I did there, and it's going to sound crazy, but in that room, I stopped to do something to manipulate the RNG for 2 levels from now. With the amount of little of those robot guys that I killed in that room, I killed exactly 2, which is going to give me better RNG 2 levels from now.
Yeah,
We'll come back to that in a little bit, but
Yes.
yeah, there is honest to goodness RNG manipulation in Lego Star Wars the video game, and it does indeed save time.
this fight is pretty straightforward. It's a very scripted fight. I'm deflecting rockets into him, and I'm doing it so fast you can't even see the rockets. And then final hit, and that is Camino. Very, very clean.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough level. It's one that is kind of one of the early game reset points when you're doing attempts. There's a lot of tricks there, but I mean, I think that was first try everything. So that was a very, very clean Camino.
By the way, it looks like your community is waking up. We got $5 from Guess the Lego Speedrunner. Yo, Justin, congrats on getting in such a banger run. It's been awesome getting to meet you and hang out with you. Hoping for more Lego games in the GDQ future. The Temple of Doom console GOAT wishes you good luck on the runs.
I wonder
might
who
be in
that
the
could
crowd.
We also got $25 from Laser Trap. I need to give a huge shout out to WiiSuper. You've been one of the most inspiring community members for several years with TCS and other games and managing community spaces. Thank you for helping to build our amazing Discord servers and keep our Legothon events running smoothly. You're absolutely killing it with this showcase. One of the best players with some of the best commentary.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laser Trap, a longtime community member and one of our current community moderators.
We also had a message from a celebrity. $25 from a Jedi who says,
Which one?
"May the Force be with you, WiiSuper."
Yeah,
This is actually the longest cutscene in the entire prequel trilogy, this opening one here, so
Can I
we're
cut
just chilling
in
for
with
a bit.
a few more then?
Yeah, just keep going.
All right, we got $10 from Slow and Distracted. Spoiler alert, eventually Anakin will be unable to Lego of his anger. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry for this joke. No need to apologize, Slow and Distracted. We loved it. $25 from Dark, who says, TCS was the first game I 100% completed. Super hyped to see it here on GDQ. Favorite Lego set has to be number 75335 BD1. And by the way, we've just opened up a new bid war, which is for the weapon skin choice on the upcoming Jet Runner run. So while you're donating, you can select the minute bonus second run or the weapon skin choice for Jet Runner.
Awesome. And here we go. We are on to the 3rd level of episode 2. This is Droid Factory. And this is actually one of the levels that had a new skip discovered in recent times. Or not quite discovered, but became run viable recently, which we're going to see in the next room. It's a cool little, like, pixel fly, I guess. we're going to see it come up here with R2. But first, we just got to go through this little room. Luckily, I did not die to Frederick the Droideka. That's his official name.
Yeah, a lot of times we name some of the more problematic enemies, I guess, in this game. That one can snipe you, and if you get a bad respawn, send you back to the end. This trick does require a sound cue, so it'll be quiet here.
Yes. Beautiful.
Nice.
And that's the trick. That is the cool little pixel fly, which for a while was known about, but wasn't viable. But we have a very, very consistent setup now, as you can see. And that basically allows us to skip this whole room where you have to like shoot some targets and all sorts of boring stuff that nobody wants to watch. So we are through there and onto the 3PO escort room where we have to bring him to the other side. This is very exciting.
Yeah, there's not much really to do in this room, but there is one thing that can go really wrong in this room, which is that sometimes those forcible spinners will just not be able to be forced, and if that's the case, you have to reset the level, but that did not happen here.
Yeah, and that once again, if you soft lock in that room, is determined by how you play the Camino level. But luckily, I everything went fine. We don't have to restart Droid Factory. There's a successful camera pan skip after a couple missed ones. Gonna warp R2 over here. And then we're gonna extend this bridge. And we normally have to wait for 3PO to walk all the way over here, which is really boring. But if we pan the camera and call him in, he just kind of warps over, which is a nice little time save and gets us into the final room. Gonna give R2 a little bit of a force push. Force pushing is a good way to kind of move the droids around a little quicker, but if you do it for too long, they become deactivated. And you don't want to do that because that loses 8 seconds. And this power-up here is absolutely crucial. You're going to see at this end room here that Obi-Wan is guarded by hordes of enemies, but it literally does not matter at all because the power-up gives us invincibility, fast force, deflect bolts, and everything else, and just lets us free him without even having to worry about the enemies at all. And that is the 3rd level of Episode 2 already done.
And that was the shortest cutscene in the game after the longest one, and now we're into Jedi battle. So this is where the RNG manipulation that we talked about is going to come into play. But at the start, we're just going to be doing this pillar section.
And this is like one of the first like big RNG parts of the run. This run does have like a decent amount of RNG, not an unbearable amount, but you know, it still is here and there. And this beginning pillar section where I have to kill these waves of enemies is has a decent amount of variance to it. In this first wave, I'm going to try to do a pretty cool deflect strat where I deflect bullets from like all the enemies at the same time and just kill them in one fell swoop. So I'm going to try to do this here.
Yeah, you'll notice that
Beautiful.
with Jedi, it's normally a lot easier to kill droids by deflecting their bolts back at them than by actually fighting them. Especially with these droidicas, if you try to like just beat up their shields, it takes forever.
Yep, this is kind of the first like RNG, just like how the droids like arrange themselves can really determine how long it takes for me to defeat all of them. But that went pretty well. And this level has the most amount of power-ups in the entire game. Every single one of these bombs on the ground has a power-up. So I'm constantly just like detonating these bombs and picking up power-ups. And this end wave is kind of unfortunate. These droidicas are not being very cooperative, so it's going to take us a little bit longer to take everybody out, but that went pretty well. So this is where the RNG manipulation takes place. So this is called the hide-and-seek section, where these 6 security droids are hiding in this large pack of enemies. But by what I did in Camino earlier, I know exactly where all these enemies are going to be. So there's going to be like 2 guys here, and then there's going to be like 2 more over here, right here and here. And then this last guy is going to be right to the right of this bomb, like right up here.
There we go.
And then in this next wave, there's going to be 1 guy like right in front of me to the top right. Right there. And then there's going to be 2 guys over here. And then I'm going to wrap tight all the way around, and all 3 of the super battle droids are going to be right here. So that saves a lot of time knowing where the enemies are by doing the RNG manip, as opposed to just kind of randomly going into the level and having to hunt them down. So that's a really, really cool thing. And it took a very long time for that strat to get fully fleshed out and developed, and was the work of probably close to a dozen people. But it's really nice, and it makes this level way, 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 way more consistent than it used to be.
And it used to be even harder because there's a lot of different random number counters in the game, but the one for this one would also be affected by the 2nd level that we played. But now that we restart the game after episode 1, that number doesn't matter. So it's really up to how many droids you killed in Camino.
Yeah, when that was first discovered, you had to restart your game after every attempt, because otherwise your RNG counter would just be some like random value that would just completely throw off Jedi battle. So that now that we restart after episode 1, just like resets in general are way faster, which is pretty nice.
And coming up is another ship level. And a lot of people don't like this one, but this one is like my personal favorite. This is Gunship Cavalry. And I call this one of my specialty levels. This is a level I really like, and it has 2 big skips in the first room that skip these kind of annoying like bomb towing sections that you have to do. So normally you have to kind of tow these bombs to break down these barriers, but this first barrier here, we can just kind of, oh, all right, I missed it. We'll try it again. You can just roll around the barrier.
Yeah, and it's actually important that Justin blew up that right side there because that actually gets rid of an invisible wall on the right side. He would not be able to do that if he didn't bomb that section.
And this is going to be our first red brick pickup. There we go. So that's exploding blaster bolts. It's going to let Justin blow things up with blasters without needing actual grenades.
Also, blink and you miss it. There's a secondary skip. Now this end room, I have to tow or destroy these 8 lasers, and I'm going to take a very specific route here that's the fastest possible route. But you may notice in the top left that my hearts are just gone. That is called ghost hearts, and I did that by dying with player 1 at the same time that player 2 loaded into the final room, and it gets you kind of in this glitched heart state, and the side effect of it is that I'm just invincible now. So that's very, very nice for this end room. I don't have to worry about taking damage from the lasers or the droids or whatever. Also, I don't know where that guy came from. Oh, let me get that one, and then we're gonna come back around here, grab this bomb, destroy these 3, and then we got the final 3 targets here, and that is a very, very quick level right there. That is 5 levels down in episode 2. Gunship Cavalry is here and gone.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about that room there is I don't think a single strat really has changed in that room in like the 7 years I've been in the community. It's been basically the exact same route because it was solved back in like 2017, like the fastest way to do the room. And I mean, like, you know, minor like line optimizations and whatnot have been added, and you know, people have gotten better at execution, but that's basically the same strat that's been there since, I mean, almost a decade ago now. Onto the Count Dooku boss fight now. So this first room, you're supposed to go into this next room and Count Dooku just stares at you menacingly, and then you gotta open a door. But if you jump on this barrel and force it, you just warp under the ground, and you can do a pretty timing precise drop in here to touch this door, and then you skip that whole section. So if you don't time that right, you actually spawn in a cutscene trigger that then closes the door. So that is a one try, and it loses a ton of time to miss. So that's a good skip there. Now we're
successful Dooku skip. It's a Christmas miracle, some might say. And now these barrels, like this fight is like pretty scripted, but there's a bunch of like tiny optimizations I can do by like angling these barrels to hit Dooku a certain way. I can keep him centered on his like standing point, and by keeping him centered, he will throw the next barrel at you about a second faster. So I was able to get 2 double fast barrel there, which is the best possible result. So that's very nice. And then in the second part of the fight, he's going to start electrocuting us, and we have to attack him with the other player while he's electrocuting the other player. And if I get a really, really precise slash, I can do that same thing where I can keep him central to his like main standing point, and the next wave will start faster. But this is almost like frame perfect.
And this is also going to be the first example of Yoda movement. So Yoda is one of the fastest characters in the game if he has his lightsaber out and is jumping. Otherwise, he is one of the slowest.
All right, no fast cycles there.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, we don't get a ton of Yoda movement in this level, but we'll see it more when we get to episode 3 and episode 5 later on.
Yeah, I just have Yoda chilling.
All right, sure. Yeah, we know that.
He barely moves at all, actually. Yeah, he's just going to observe while
he's
Obi-Wan
tired, you know.
takes care.
He just got out of the arena.
When 900 years old you are, you know, you won't.
That's how the quote goes. Yeah.
I don't think I even know what the quote is, but it's something like that.
We're done with 2 out of the 6 episodes.
Woohoo!
And I just want to cut in here and say we are at almost $5,000 for the bonus second run, any percent run for minute that's coming up. That's the bid war, that's the incentive that's open right now. We've also got more love coming in from your community as usual. $20 from EJP Man, who says, good luck, Justin. It's been a long time coming. Proud to see how far this game has come in the 6 years I've been around. Here's to another 6. We also heard from It's Jared97, who sent in $10 and said, it's bittersweet to think that after joining this community nearly 6 years ago, this category is finally being showcased in speedrunning's greatest stage, and there's no better person to do it than WiiSuper, a true pioneer in the LEGO speedrunning community that has led to so many people joining the greatest speedrunning community in the world, and truly a great person and friend. Thank you, Justin, for everything you've done for this community, and I hope everyone can feel the same joy playing this game that so many of us have experienced for so many years.
Awesome. Thank you, Jared.
Also heard from Cam, sent in $25 and says, happy to see the best speed game finally run at GDQ. Good luck, WiiSuper.
So I apologize in advance. This cutscene is like unbalanced to the other ones, and it's so loud. Like I cannot hear anything right now. But yeah, we are on to episode 4. We bought that red brick. We picked it up in Gunship Cavalry. I feel like I'm talking louder right now because this cutscene is. There we go. Okay, it's better now. We picked up that exploding blaster bolt red brick from Gunship Cavalry, and we bought it on the way to episode 4. Which, like I said, we do kind of jump around in the route a little bit. So episode 4 is our next episode. For the same reason we did episode 2 earlier, there's going to be 2 more red bricks that we want to grab in episode 4 that'll be beneficial to us later in the run. But this is our first original trilogy level, and as my commentators mentioned earlier, the level design in the original trilogy is like a little bit different. Not too different, but a little bit different. And there are longer levels that have more puzzles. And we'll see here, like, you're actually building stuff now. I think in the prequels, you build like one thing. You can fact check me on that.
I believe it's 2 in the run. There's the feed and negotiations, each one build. But yeah, I really like this level. This is kind of like 1P2C heaven. You're just like doing 1P2C for almost the entire level. I might not even be almost. It might literally be like the entire level except for like 10 seconds. But there's just so much like, you know, you could drop out a player here, but you ideally want both of them up here so you can build both at the same time. And dropping out does take like half a second, so it's slow to do that. So it's faster just to like have both your players just kind of going through the level.
Yeah, it's a level with a lot of just like mechanical precision.
Yeah. It's a very fun level to practice.
And we are going to turn on that red brick, the exploding blaster bolts. And as you can see right away, boom, everything blows up. The exploding blaster bolts is the most overpowered red brick in the entire game by a mile.
Yeah.
And we are going to be using that for crowd control, blowing up some objects later in the run that like normally you shouldn't be able to do. And like all sorts of cool things. And it is going to make everything a lot easier from here on out.
It was very kind of the developers to just put it out in the open, right in like the ideal path of the level in Gunship Cavalry. Yeah. Like super convenient. Thank you, developers. That was an excellent.
They knew.
Yeah, I mean, it is like by far the most broken extra, just because it basically gives you the normally only bounty hunters have the ability to blow things up, and there's special areas that you're either only supposed to do with that, or you're supposed to build like a big puzzle to get through those explosive areas. But when you have, you know, when you can literally shoot bombs, like you can just get through a lot of barriers that you're not supposed to be able to.
We have now been reunited with our droids here. In this room, we got a cool, really ancient strat called Super Crane, and we basically are gonna walk off the edge and grab 3PO at the same time, and we can pick him up out of the void, which skips having to do the puzzle in this room. It allows us to just kind of skip right to the end. I am going to die with player 1 here right as player 2 loads into the room, and if you remember from Gunship Cavalry, that will give us that Ghost Hearts effect.
Yes, and so does the Super Crane. So now both players have Ghost Hearts.
Yeah, but I immediately switch. If you switch, you lose the effect. So player 2 no longer has Ghost Hearts, but player 1 will keep that on them, which is really, really good with exploding blaster bolts, because the one downside to exploding blaster bolts is that it makes it very easy to blow yourself up. And that's going to be something I'm going to try not to do throughout the rest of the run, but Ghost Hearts makes me not have to worry about that, at least for the rest of this level.
I also prefer, I think, the like random voice sounds from the original trilogy. Like these, like Rebel Friend.
Yeah, we actually have a category for multiple LEGO games, and it's called Grunt Percent, which is basically all the LEGO games that don't have the voice acting and just do the grunts.
Yeah.
A nice 19-hour speed run.
Yeah, real quick. We'll do it at GDQ next year.
You're a little behind the times, WiiSuper. It's like a 16-hour speed run.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The games have come a long way.
Yeah.
When I ran Grunt Percent, like 5 years ago, it was a 20-hour speed run. Apparently it's 16 hours now. That's incredible.
Shout-outs to Seedemnastic on that.
Yeah, a lot of the older LEGO games, or newer LEGO games, I'm sorry, have level skips. So this game, it's like, we theorize that it's probably just like completely impossible to ever skip levels in this game. I'm not going to say truly impossible, because, you know, speedrunning is a wonderful thing, and the things that have been done have been incredible, but compared to newer LEGO games, some of the newer LEGO games have like 4-minute any percent speed runs, where you literally start the run, hit some sort of out-of-bounds trigger that takes you right to the end of the game. But this game doesn't really have any of that.
Would you like to hear something especially inspiring?
Absolutely.
It's a $100 donation from the one and only WiiSuper's mom, who says, simply the best. And remember, when you're making those donations, to mark those for the incentives that you want to see. We've got the open bonus second any percent run on Minute, and the weapon skin choice bid war for Jet Runner. So you can get your choices in there. $7.99 coming in from Kalazi5, who says, my favorite Lego sets are the Spurious robots and the big Ice Planet ship.
Yeah, everyone should share their favorite Lego set in the chat.
Indeed.
I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm not a big Lego enthusiast. I don't have good knowledge on Legos.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
So, you're saying all these sets, and they maybe ring a bell a little bit, but I'm not an expert. But maybe, are any of you guys Lego experts?
I used to be a Lego guy back in the day, yeah.
In my youth, perhaps.
Yeah.
We've got a back in the day shout out from GM Big Kev, who gave us $5 to start off a $5 donation train with his favorite Lego set. Does anybody else remember that really cool castle set with the drawbridge? Like the old one. No, the older one. No, older than that. Yeah, the one from the 80s, that one.
Yeah, so coming up here, Justin's going to be getting the second red brick of the run here. He's going to clip into this part here.
Okay, I missed it.
Yeah, that's fine though, because there's actually many different out of bounds you can do in this. And the point of getting out of bounds here is to get this next red brick, which is the fast force red brick.
Yeah.
That is going to speed up forces for the entire run after you buy it, and there are some pretty slow forces.
So that was some tough out of bounds movement I was trying to do there to get the red brick. Like you said, there's plenty of other ways to get out of bounds. I'm going to do another one here that's also pretty tough. Oh, I missed it. That's okay. We can try this one again. This one is... There we go. I haven't practiced that much because it's obsolete now, but that skip that we did at the start, you get only one try to do. So, sometimes I have to pull it out. But like I said, that one I'm quite out of practice with because we don't do that anymore. We do the out of bounds at the start. But we're going to grab the red brick and die. And since your respawn point only sets to inbounds collision, by intentionally dying there, we just respawn back to where we were right by the door to the second room.
Yeah, that trick is much harder than it looks because you're actually avoiding a lot of slippery collision there. And if you go under the wrong triangles there, you will just slip and immediately fall into the void.
Yeah, which is generally true of the game. A lot of the times the collision effects apply if you're above or below the actual collision. So in that case, if you were to be below the slip, you would just fall.
That's a cool little trick there. It's a double jump slam into that little pipe there. Normally you have to go all the way to the top of that sand crawler and activate like a suction to bring you in there. But by doing a double jump slam, that trick is very, very frame tight. And we can just entirely skip that puzzle on that sandcrawler there.
We have all our favorite droids here. We have the droid with a stick on its head, the semicircle droid.
I think that's droid 3.
Droid 3,
is
yeah.
the name of that droid in the game.
They don't have like the really scary version of C-3PO that's like dead in the corner and the...
My favorite part about those droids, you can play as them, and they have like blasters, but it's just like they shoot a bullet out of their body.
Yeah, they just will one into existence.
All right, I did take out all those Jawas there. Normally they have 2 hearts, but with exploding blaster bolts, you can just one-shot all of them, which is very, very helpful. The Jawas like to zap the droids, so it's very important that I take them all out.
Yeah, going into this next room, this section casually would normally take a long time. What you would have to do normally is you would have to use the droids to get rid of these quicksand sections, but you're going to see Justin do some tricky platforming here to skip past all of these quicksands. So here's the first jump right there. Excellently done.
Nice.
Yeah, and, now we're like stranded from the rest of our team, so it's important that we have a way to skip every single one of these sections, because if we can skip the first one, but then we can't skip the second one, well, we're in kind of a little bit of trouble. But luckily this one, we can actually just walk on the edge of the quicksand and we stay alive.
There we go.
That's how we skip the second one.
Yeah, very clean. You're going to be seeing that speeder clipping tech that we saw at the start of Theed Palace come up right here. Justin's going to build this speeder here, and he's going to try to clip R2-D2 into that final, into Obi-Wan's house here.
This is a kind of a precise skip. There we go. Nice job.
That's 2 levels of episode 4 down.
Yeah, and I think it'd be good now to discuss the weird trick that's coming up in the next level. Actually.
One of the weirdest for sure.
Yeah, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, so there is this weird glitch in this game. It's called Player 3 glitch. Basically, if you die and are off screen, and then the off screen spot where you died gets kind of like pulled off camera such that your character gets auto switched to another player, that dead character just starts walking forward in a line as if they're the third player, though, but you have no control over them. And that can be really inconvenient if you do it on accident in the wrong place of the run. But as it turns out, there is a very niche use case for that piece of tech in this level that saves a very large amount of time. WiiSuper, do you do at the beginning the?
I'm going to be doing it in the cantina, so a little bit later in the level.
Okay, so we'll loop back to that here in a moment. First things first, we have the third instance of speeder clipping. What we just saw right at the end of the last level, we're going to do it again right here at the beginning. Fortunately, we have the land speeder again, and the land speeder is super fast, so being able to use that for movement does save some time here at the beginning.
Yeah, and this speeder clip used to be very difficult, but we found a very nice setup. We kind of jam the speeder in the corner here, and then we just kind of turn, and then loop goes right through.
Yeah, so that's room 1 done. And here is an excellent example of the power of exploding blaster bolts. That you're supposed to build like a whole ship there, and
An ATS, yeah, I think.
there's
yeah.
like 15 forces and a bunch of builds, but you can just shoot the thing with your gun, and then that's that. So here is that trick. So basically, he forced his dead character to go off screen, and now C-3PO is just walking in a line, and he can force him to walk onto this button here. This is kind of an inconvenience of the trick right there, but in a moment we'll see the power of it. So in the back half of this level, we switch out our party. Instead of having Obi-Wan and Luke, we switch to Han and Chewbacca. And because we only have the 2 characters here, we can't have a third player because there is no third player in our party. But that effect still applies. That effect applies until you end the level. So once we go into the final map of the level, which is after we exit this coming room, we actually do have a third character who will eventually enter our party way off in a different part of the room, kind of in the final boss of the level. So that third character way off screen, we will never see them, is walking in a straight line up left. And we can maneuver them such that they walk directly into the end level trigger without us even going anywhere near it. And that skips a whole boss fight. So we get my personal favorite moment of the run.
It's up here, yeah.
Yeah, so you might wonder why he's just sitting here. You want to see the level end? There you go.
Like 4 rooms further.
Yeah. So that compared to the casual, that's probably like 3-minute difference, like how much time you're saving there. That might be an overestimate, but you save there's 3 whole rooms you just skipped there basically.
Yes.
And I think this is a great time for this donation from Hornlock, who sends in $20 saying, everything that happening in this run is now canon Star Wars for me.
Yeah, that's what happened, I think, yeah.
3PO saved the day before we even got
Just started
there.
walking.
He grabbed the Falcon himself, brought it over for us.
Yeah. I'll pick you up over here.
We also got a $25 donation to the Prevent Cancer Foundation from Zach Muffin, who says, hi guys, immensely proud of all of you, especially you, Justin. So sorry I couldn't be there. Hopefully next time. Much love.
Yeah, and that's Zach. That's our current world record holder. So huge shout out to Zach.
Pretty recent world record, too.
Mm-hmm. He did want to be here. Unfortunately, he was not able to get off work. We miss you, Zach.
We also received $50 from Dishwater Doshwat, who says, WiiSuper! I came to get this donation in for your Lego Star Wars run. Hopefully those random crashes don't happen. Let's kick cancer's butt and maybe the Force be with you on your run.
And that's a perfect segue, talking about crashes.
Yeah.
And we'll get to see this a bit later, but we run on kind of like a patched version of the game. We've made some small modifications here there, and it's still the true original Lego Star Wars, but we were able to fix the crashing.
Fix is a big word. We cleaned up the crash a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Well, we'll come back to that in episode 6, because that's where the issue we'll see that later. But for now, we're on the Death Star. This is Rescue the Princess, and this level we have a very quick out of bounds here. There's just a little gap in the collision here. between the death plane and an invisible wall that we can just fall into and just walk out of bounds to the end of this room. And this also skips a cutscene. Very nice.
There we go. Yeah, kind of a difficult out of bounds because there's no real easy cue for it.
I also turned off exploding blaster bolts here because that's a red brick. Those pipes have some buggy collision, lets me jump to a room to the left there and grab the red brick, but I didn't want to blow them up on accident, so I turned exploding blaster bolts off just for a second there, and now I turn them back on. Right there, I just shot a barrel through the wall, so Obi-Wan is kind of on the other side there, and he's just doing his own thing, and he needs to force this bridge for us, as you can see he is doing right now, allowing us to progress. There is a chance that he gets stuck on the barrel in the other side of the room. Like, they just put a barrel in his walking path, and he gets stuck on that barrel sometimes, so I just shoot it through the wall using a cool little trick that lets you do that, and that makes it so he doesn't get stuck. Uh-oh, I got random pilot spawns.
No,
block,
you're good.
block,
You're good.
Okay.
Huge body block.
That's a very, okay, I was not expecting that. That's a rare thing that can happen where you randomly take aggro there, and, because normally when you're wearing a helmet, like Chewie is, even though it's not very convincing, they believe that he is one of them.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's a stormtrooper right there.
Yeah, so as you can see, that they're unbothered by us. But the second I start building, they realize, oh my gosh, he's a bad guy. And they try to attack us, but luckily that's enough time that we can still use the panel and be fine.
And this helmet management is also going to come up in a lot of levels, in this next one as well. Oftentimes losing your helmet early can be a massive time loss because you have to go back to basically the last available dispenser.
Yeah, and the downside with helmets, if you take even 1 heart of damage, you lose the helmet.
Yes.
So that can be very tricky, especially in certain rooms.
Yeah. This upcoming level, so this is, the first half of the Death Star. We're about to rescue Princess Leia. The second half is...
Spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry. For anyone who hasn't seen the movies, you should, but also... yeah, there we go. Rescue Princess Leia. The second half is basically the escape, right? So this is where the goal is to get to the Falcon, and the Falcon's going to be at the end of this, in this like final room where there's a lot of fighting, killing a lot of stormtroopers, and then the Falcon's going to sort of rise up, and then we can go into it. But throughout the whole level, we're going to be setting up a very complex trick to basically skip all that. It's going to be massive time save. But before we do that,
I do want to preface, so normally in this level, so you may remember we've been kind of switching the refresh rate here and there from 50 to 60. This is the one level where usually we will switch our game to 40 hertz. And there's a couple tricks in this level that require you to be on 40 hertz. Unfortunately, just due to some tech issues here, we cannot turn our game to 40 hertz. So we're just going to be playing it normally, but that means that there's a couple skips that we're not going to be able to do. And I almost maybe kind of forget what to do, but we're going to figure it out together.
If there's one person that knows how to do this trick, this level the old way, it's just...
There is a one-try trick at the start here that is frame perfect on 60 hertz. On 40 hertz, it's completely free, but it's frame perfect on 60. I'm just going to try it. I haven't done this in years, but we will try it. Okay, didn't get it. It was worth a shot. Okay. But normally you can clip out of bounds with that platform there, but you can only build that platform once, so you only get one chance to do it. But instead, we're just going to play this room normally, and we're going to see like a couple little optimizations here. But for now, we're going to clear out all the enemies. And the nice thing about Han is he has an auto dodge mechanic, so even though these enemies are trying to shoot his helmet off, if I just spam attack, they'll never actually hit him.
Yeah, and the goal here is to keep this helmet basically throughout the whole level.
Also, those 5 buttons, you normally have to get a cart because you can't run across them fast enough, but with 2 players, you can just kind of circumvent that. And right here, if I'm standing still while using this grapple and I spam jump, I can just jump out of the air and skip, making a little platform over there as well. So this is how you do the first room without the out of bounds.
Yeah. So this is where we're going to start setting up the trick. So in the game, each level is divided into different rooms. And when you go through a door, you can maybe load the next room, right? To make it so that the game doesn't lag when you're trying to go through a door, the game has this invisible line through the map where basically, depending on what side of the line you are, it will load the room that is most likely to come up so that when you then go through the door to go to the next room, there's no lag, the room's already loaded. If you go back over the line, so let's say you go to the end of one room and then you go all the way back, right? It's going to unload the room that you just loaded and then load the previous room. It turns out when you do that, some weird stuff happens. Most importantly, if there's a door that is disabled, and then you unload the room and reload the room, the door will suddenly be enabled. And that is a pretty big deal, because a lot of these levels, the way you end the level is by going through a door that is disabled until you accomplish some objective. So what Justin's going to be doing up here is going all the way up. Yeah, so this is where you want to preserve that, the helmet, so the fact that he kept it is fantastic.
So I have not done, so there, like I said, we're playing on 60 hertz instead of 40 hertz.
Yeah.
If we were on 40 hertz, there's an out of bounds clip we can do there. I have not done that strategy. I just did there in probably 4 years.
Perfect execution.
Yeah,
But we did it.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Looks great.
Never shot. So here, Chewie's going to jump all the way down, and he's going to sort of stuff himself into the corner. And what he's doing over there is he's going through that invisible line. So for a moment, the game loaded the room at the start, the one with the trash, and then has now reloaded this final room. So what that's going to do is, as WiiSuper just sort of goes through this level, and this is, just going through the motions, nothing too crazy here. The Falcon, which is still underground, the door to the Falcon that should normally be disabled until you accomplish all this stuff, is now enabled just through this process, which means that as WiiSuper goes through this last section, picks up another power up here to do this build really quickly, where the Falcon should be in this last room. There is now an open door that, with a precise jump, he can take and finish the level. And it's a precise jump. We try it again. There we go.
Nice.
GG.
Yeah, so to summarize that, you go backwards far enough in the level to deload and reload the end room. And by doing that, the Falcon trigger becomes active early, skipping this entire end room, which is very long.
Yes.
Like speed running, it's like a minute and a half to do all the puzzles to raise the Falcon out of the ground.
It's very long, and because of the amount of stormtroopers that show up, there's a risk that the game will crash if you stay there too long.
Yeah.
So it can also just be a problem to be there.
We've got donations coming in from that donation train for favorite Lego set. This one I think is maybe a little bit sarcastic. $25 from Video Fever, who says, my favorite Lego Star Wars set is the Mega Bloks USS Enterprise. George sends in 25 and says, not my fave, but it is awesome and on theme. It's the Black Millennium Falcon with alternate characters.
Oh, yeah.
Keep up the good work, GDQ.
The Dark Side Millennium Falcon.
WiiSuper fan sent in $25 and said, Lego sets, we say, we have to go with the original Jedi Starfighter model. Cooler than the newer, smaller one. Excellent run so far, WiiSuper, an inspiration to us all. A sentiment that I believe is shared by Anonymous, who sends in $250 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, simply saying, huge Justin fan.
Awesome. No more Mega Bloks here. That's
We don't
We're
dabble
drawing a
in
line
that.
in the sand.
yeah, we don't
Yeah.
talk about those here.
Whenever we get an anonymous donator, so we have a community member named an anonymous source that
Yeah.
we call anonymous. So when every time someone donates anonymous, I'm like, oh, is that anonymous?
Yeah, and Anonymous has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes, one of the most generous people.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the final level of episode 6, another ship level, and this is Rebel Attack, and it's a lot of torpedo management as I got to destroy these sets of targets here. Oh, that was interesting.
Always something nice to hear.
And then once we destroy all the targets, this door will open up for us and we can progress to the next room. But during all the downtime, I'm trying to grab more torpedoes, and I have a very low torpedo count on player 2, so I'm actually going to try to sit here for a little bit.
Yeah, notable because player 2 is the Y-Wing, which, as we all know, is the bombers that the Rebel Alliance uses. So the Y-Wing can carry more torpedoes than player 1, which is the X-Wing.
Yeah, torpedo targeting in this game is really finicky. You might have saw one of them there. Sometimes if you shoot 2 torpedoes at the same time, they'll just go to the same target, so that'll just waste a torpedo.
Yeah.
So you do have to be careful when you shoot them.
Blink and you'll miss it. There's an out of bounds.
There you go.
A little bit of collision there right by the entry door is, or like there's a gap in the collision, I should say, and you can go out of bounds and skip that whole room there.
And now one of the funniest parts of the run, we all remember
Oh, yes.
this
is such a
daring battle between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader at the end of Episode 4, in which Luke Skywalker went straight forward and Darth Vader missed every single shot.
Yes.
So we're about to see that here.
Luke just held the D-pad up
Luke
on
held,
his,
yeah,
his
Luke held
X-Wing.
up arrow.
Remember, this is all canon, folks.
This exactly is all canon.
I'm holding one button.
There we go. Get over Justin.
Nail biter.
Yeah.
The Force is strong with this one.
Yes.
And we got one final section here. Gonna do a tough little 1P2C. We gotta take out, what is it, 12 turrets?
Yes.
And then the final torpedo. And we are officially finished with episode 4. And half of the episodes.
Yeah, one of the hardest episodes in the game.
Yeah, this episode's pretty difficult, but in my personal opinion, everyone has their own opinion. In my opinion, the next episode coming up, which is going to be episode 6, is, in my opinion, the hardest episode in the entire run.
Yeah.
Right now. The game has kind of gone through different states where different episodes were harder. I think the current state of the game, episode 6, is brutal. But we're gonna try our best to hit all the tricks there. I'm not gonna cut any tricks out. I'm gonna go for everything. So.
Can I give you a quick update?
Absolutely.
We're at 82% of the way for the bonus second run, any percent run per minute. And the love has started coming in for that Jet Runner bid war for weapon skin choice. David H. sends in $100 and says, I have incredible memories flooding back of playing Lego Star Wars with my brother growing up. Good luck with the run. And remember, whenever you make your donation, let us know what incentive you're wanting that to go towards. And you can do that using the Twitch charity tool with the browser extension if you're watching on browser. We also got $50 from Chess Wiz, who says, good luck, Justin. So hyped to see Lego at GDQ. Can we get a GDQ hype?
Hype.
Very nice, very nice.
Awesome. Thank you, Chess. And we're going to head back to the shop again by the 2 red bricks we picked up in episode 4. Fast Force and Tractor Beam. Fast Force is probably much more intuitive than Tractor Beam. You force stuff faster. Tractor Beam is on the ship level, adds this little a tractor beam to the bottom of your ship, which will be useful for us in the final level of episode 6. It has one use in the entire run. But Fast Force, you're going to see throughout the entire rest of the run, will be forcing stuff very, very, very fast.
Yeah. It's another pretty long cutscene. All of these like opening cutscenes for the original trilogy tend to be quite a...
Yeah, episode 6 has some monstrous cutscenes, but of course they're all fun.
Yeah.
Very accurate. Well, like I said, it's all canon now, right? That's what we said, so.
While we're watching the cutscene, here's a quick $20 from Parker, who says, good luck to a fantastic runner, great commentators, and amazing friends. Thanks for everything, especially the disc golf tournament. We also have $50 from Scored Lobster 68. Good morning, AGDQ. So excited to see the complete series being played this year. I used to play it all the time with my brother when we were growing up. Hoth Leo was my favorite character to play as. Good luck, WiiSuper, with the run. Hype!
And with that, that's a perfect segue right into the start of Jabba's Palace, which is one of the reasons why episode 6 is one of the hardest episodes. I think this level is really, really tough, and we're going to start out with a trick called Sentry Jump. It's a one-try trick. You're going to want to pay attention to Leia's side. I'm going to try to jump off some glitchy collision to activate this top sentry early. Nice. And that lets us skip building. You see this pile of blocks here. We normally have to build like a platform to get up there, and that skips that entirely. So that's a nice little start. And then this next room is pretty self-explanatory, but in the next room, there's an out of bounds in that next room that you use like one of the little spider guys to get out of bounds. And normally it's RNG, so there's like 7 different ways the spider can go when you enter the room. And like 3 out of the 7 ways, it's going in such a bad direction that it's actually slower to do the out of bounds versus just the intended strat. Regardless of which way the spider goes, I'm just going to do the out of bounds strat, even if it's bad RNG, just because it's cool. So we're going to hopefully get good RNG, but even if we get bad RNG, we will... Oh, this is the second best pattern, so this is nice. So you actually see he's kind of coming towards the door. This is the right direction we need to go. So I'm going to jump off, jump on. Well, let's just do it. And we're out of bounds. That's kind of hard to process what happened there. But I got on the spider and dropped out with Luke before he hit the door to the previous room. And by doing that, he gets on the spider but doesn't hit the door to the previous room. And since the spider has such a wide turn radius, it kind of just walks behind the door to the previous room. And then after that happens, I can switch to Luke. And since he's behind the door, he's just out of bounds.
Yeah, and then going to be another out of bounds here.
Yeah, this is to skip this whole section where you have to free both C-3PO and R2-D2 here. But as you said, you can pretty much walk under any floor in this game as long as you get out of bounds, and that's exactly what he does here. He's actually going to be doing another out of bounds in the next room. As we said, this level has basically a trick in every section, but this out of bounds is special. He's actually going to be hitting a out of bounds trigger that will take him immediately to the final part of this level, which is the Rancor fight. And you are never supposed to hit this trigger like anywhere, I guess, not in free play, not in story. In fact, actually, we don't know why this trigger is here. Maybe it's a leftover, actually, of an earlier concept of this level. But you're going to see him walk out of bounds here, and he's going to go right under this floor grate, under the here. Which in the movie, that's where I think they drop Luke into the Rancor pit. But you can't actually open this in the game, and just going through there will move him on to the Rancor fight.
Very clean.
A lot of out of bounds in that level. Now we have the Rancor fight. There's a bit of optimizations here, just trying to put the Gamorrean guards in ideal positioning, so the Rancor has to take like the shortest line to get into the corner where you hit him with the bomb.
Yeah, the big thing with this is that the Rancor can actually get stuck very easily in certain places, so he does want to path the Rancor to avoid all those.
So I want to like keep, for example, to prevent him from getting stuck, I need to keep this guy kind of slightly offset to the right. If I let him go to the middle, then the Rancor will get stuck on that like pebble on the floor there. Then we're going to do the final lever pull, and that was beautiful.
Fantastic, yeah, really good job as Palace.
Textbook. We have a bit of an explanation for what might have happened earlier. $5 from Darth Vader. He's flying too straight. I can't hit him. We've also heard from Jedi Cat Kazoo, who sent in $10 saying, "My favorite Lego set has to be the Tuxedo Cat. Duh, it's just a sculpture of my favorite Jedi, me. Thank you, AGDQ and PCF, for all you do. Zoomies!"
Awesome, and that is going to bring us right into the second level of episode 6, which is once again another very, very difficult level, the Great Pit of Carcoon. But this also has a pretty long opening cutscene. So if you have more donations, then this is a perfect time to kind of rapid fire here.
Oh, buddy, here we go. We got $15 from Los, who says, "Hey, Justin, what's better than watching the TCS GOAT playing TCS on the big stage and eating a nice bowl of cereals? Thank you for showcasing our amazing community for such a great cause. It's been an honor to be on the LEGO Speedrunning Series mods team with you. Thank you for everything you've done for the community." We also got $5 from Bex. As one of the very few people on this planet who has played this game but never seen the movies, I'm realizing right now that watching this amazing speedrun was maybe not the right way to get more insight on the story. I promise I'll catch up one day. Good luck.
I would love to know what people who have only played the games think the movies are like.
I feel like this game really abridges the story pretty heavily. The new Lego Star Wars game, the Skywalker Saga, that came out a few years ago, what was that, 2022?
Yeah.
I feel like that game has like a better representation of like the story in the game. This game just kind of does whatever.
Well, I mean, there is a famous scene in Return of the Jedi where he does his whole like trapeze, like, trampoline set, as we just saw.
So this level, I think, is the most notorious level in this game's history, and it has the most notorious skip in this game's history. We'll see in a couple of rooms, but this first room, we mostly need to just like get our party together, and we have a brief, we have a brief encounter here with Boba Fett, and I say brief, it's going to be very brief.
Well, it might be a little longer because I missed the camera pan skip there. So I'm going to have to fight him normally. But it'll still be pretty quick. But okay.
That's another advantage of the exploding blaster bolts. Normally, you're supposed to shoot him a couple times per hit, but if you just hit him with an explosion, he takes a heart of damage immediately, which saves some time there. We're coming up on a bit of a tricky jump here. So the back half of the barge here, there are these 3 platforms you're supposed to bring out. And if you bring out just the middle one, you can make some pretty easy jumps and skip the first and third. But bringing out just the first and third is way faster than bringing out the middle one. And there's a very precise jump you can make if you angle yourself correctly here.
Oh,
Nice try, nice try.
Yeah, you have to kind of jump over some sliding collision. Obviously, you're not
There we
intended to
go.
make that jump there, but nicely done.
Yeah, you can sort of get a boost off of like the angle to give yourself like the extra. I don't know what distance units they use in Star Wars.
You would know better than I would.
I probably
yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Like space centimeters, you know?
Yeah, space centimeters, yeah.
we are coming up on the iconic disco skip, which, like Chimkin said, has a very notorious history as being one of the worst skips in the game. We found a setup that is 100% consistent, assuming you're standing in the right spot, but it's nearly pixel perfect. So I'm gonna have to really look at the pixels here. I'm looking at Chewie's right foot. That should work. Nice.
Nice. Yeah, my favorite thing about that skip, like we've known about that since 2018, I think. And I'd say for the first like 4.5 to 5 years, maybe more, that we knew about it, it was one of those skips where like every 6 months someone would solve disco skip, and then the way that they solved disco skip would break like a week later, and the setup would just stop working, and no one knew what happened, and you repeat that like 15 times, like every once in a while. It was almost a meme for a while that like you can't solve disco skip, but hey, now we have actually solved disco skip.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, you would be getting it 100% of the time, 20% of the time.
Exactly, yeah. We have another pretty massive time save from exploding blaster bolts here. Normally, you're supposed to go all the way to the back of the skiff here and get this giant gun to shoot these targets, but like with everything else that explodes in this game, you can just shoot it with exploding blaster bolts and skip that whole section. That skips like half that room, basically.
Yeah.
And that's 2 levels down in episode 6.
Got a quick update. Remember what we said earlier, $25 from Anonymous, Mega Blocks in our LEGO stream?
Whoa. You're saying some restricted terms here.
They're supporting you on that. We also got $25 from Saber, who says, shout out to the amazing LEGO community, but more importantly, shout out to Gonk Droid.
We all love Gonk Droid here.
And Anonymous asks the very important question for $25. Hav, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I don't know. A Jedi wouldn't tell me.
Not the kind of story a speedrunner would tell you.
That's right. This level is actually very interesting. It's one of the shortest levels in the original trilogy. And if anyone knows Speeder Showdown, that may sound crazy because it's casually might be the longest level in the entire game.
Yeah.
But this level has the biggest single skip in the entire run, a skip that saves over 4.5 minutes. And it skips the entire Speeder Showdown part of the Speeder Showdown.
And we're going to open up here with Flower Jump, which is maybe the most difficult trick in the game. No,
we
it's not.
got
It's
it.
trivial, but
Nice. Let's
nice
go.
Flower Jump. But yeah, here's a speeder skip. So after this short cutscene where the speeder's going to come up, basically Justin's going to try to get them in an angle such that you can do this like flip move with a speeder, and by stacking them on top of each other and then doing the flip with the one that's on top, you get enough height to clear this barrier. And as he said, normally this would require you going around and sort of like each one of those dots is a thing you have to destroy. But you do the jump high enough that you can just clear the barrier all the way.
Saves 4.5 minutes.
Yep.
And it's a pretty like trivial skip too. This level is like probably one of the easiest in episode 6. And it's under 3 minutes, even with the cutscenes.
Unless you're on Linux, in which case it makes an ear-piercing sound when you try to do it.
Only you would know that.
Only I would know that.
Now this last room is pretty straightforward. We're having to destroy these like 4 satellites with this AT-AT. And I'm going to be pulling the levers. So I'm kind of multitasking here. I'm having Leia pull the levers while Luke is doing the rounds, shooting the satellites.
Multitasking in a 2P1C run?
Exactly.
Or 1P2C?
Can you believe it?
2P1C of this game would be fun too.
Yeah. We did a 4P2C race at one point in person. That was, there was a lot of arguing.
Yeah.
And then the final levers come up. And that is a quick and easy speeder showdown.
There you go.
And just in time for the end of episode 6, I do want to remind everybody that we have a lovely prize for a $25 minimum donation. It's an Ewok plushie that you can have for yourself. We're so close on that minute incentive that I can taste it, folks. We're less than $800 away from getting that bonus second run any percent. So please, if you are making a donation right now, put it towards that incentive. And hey, maybe even towards the bid war for Jet Runner.
Awesome. Feel free to throw 2 more donations in.
Let's see. We got $5 from the Sues who heard what I just said. I have to know how few minutes it can be to beat minute. Let's get that any percent run. I've also got $10 from Melodicha, who says, as someone who has also only played the game, I think at this point I'd be disappointed watching the movies if there isn't a trapeze scene. Next you're going to tell me they aren't all Lego in the original either.
No, actually, that one they are. Yeah.
So this is Battle of Endor we're currently watching the opening cutscene for, and just like Jabba's Palace and Pit of Carkoon, I mean, this level, I think many people would say is like the mechanically hardest level in the game, or maybe the highest skill ceiling. Mm-hmm. There's basically just like infinite room for improvement you can do on this level. I think for many runners, this is the level they put the most amount of time practicing into. And we're about to get started right now.
Yeah, right here you're gonna see Justin. Normally you have to go and like build all these bridges here to get your whole party across, but if you just have R2, you can just fly over all of these and just strand your party behind. He is having Wicket follow him because, if we don't have to drop out, we won't.
Yeah, the only reason I have Wicket in is to save like the 0.7 seconds from not having to drop him out.
Yeah, and then hits the transition from behind. Normally you have to go around the front and down the stairs, but it's quicker.
Gonna grab a power up here, which is just gonna make us be able to completely ignore all these troopers.
I think probably this is the only puzzle in the game we still do legit. Or in this
this
level.
is like the second of the 3 rooms we mentioned that you just have no possible way of skipping.
Yeah.
Such as the one in Darth Maul. We just have to do this one as intended.
Although we do get the ghost hearts here at the end, which is going to be very important.
Yes, I'm gonna jump off the edge with Han here right as the elevator goes down. He dies right as we hit the new room and he gets ghost hearts, which is gonna be very good for the rest of the level. I'm gonna do a little trick called a hill roll here there we go.
Nice.
To get up here to skip a pretty long puzzle actually, where we have to go up where those troopers are.
Man, there's very little grass here. What's going on?
Yeah, so you might not know this, I guess, unless you've played the PC version recently. Endor is a pretty lush level, but we have actually removed some of the grass on this level, and that is to prevent this completely random crash that can happen. Basically, if you are preloading a level that has grass in it, there's a chance that the game will just corrupt your collision, and then you will just crash. So for marathon safety, we get rid of it. You see here, Justin's also jumping over these gates here.
This is very hard skip, by the way.
Yeah, and what he's doing here, normally you would have to get your party to sort of push all of these buttons and, activate all these panels. But what he can abuse here is that if you jump on another character as they're sort of jumping up a slope, they'll actually gain way more height from the jump than you would expect.
So close.
Yeah, this trick is a little bit precise because all of this ground here is slippery collision. So if you contact any bit of it for like a slight amount of time,
there we go.
slide.
Nice.
Yeah, very tricky trick right there.
Yeah, and part of the mechanical trouble with Endor is like those are also pretty new skips, relative in the last few years.
Yeah.
Like this level really does just keep getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to what they were saying, yes, the reason that so many levels in this game crash so much is because of grass. That is it. So we got rid of the grass. We mowed the lawn, so there's no flowy grass anywhere in the level. So it looks a little bit barren, but it doesn't actually change anything gameplay-wise.
There's a whole puzzle here to sort of get up onto the bunker, but he's going to abuse the call-in mechanics here once again to get the players to just drop in up there. And now he's not even going to open the door here. He's going to set up another super jump. He set his respawn up there, so when he gets Chewie stuck right here, he's going to try to jump all the way back up and into the door to the next level. So that's that right there.
Nice. So yeah, with super jumps, two of the things that we've seen here that can stop the super jump and basically let you use it to get out of bounds are if you get forced or if you hit some sort of like basically a door, like in this case.
Yeah, and we'll get to see both of those usages of a super jump again later on down the line in this run. I think we still have 3 more to see.
So we have to, this bunker is also like one of the few rooms that can't be skipped. We have to pull 4 levers in the bunker. And normally when you pull each lever, it plays like an unskippable camera pan, but we can actually skip a couple of them. So this first one, we're gonna do something called a force switch camera pan by having our game force switch us to a different character right as it starts. So I'm gonna pull it now. And then since I pulled Chewie so far off the camera, it switches me to R2. And by switching during that camera pan, it skips it. This one we can't skip. So we're just gonna watch it. And the final 2 are on the other side of the bunker here. And we can skip both of these. One of them we'll definitely be able to skip. The other one is kind of RNG.
Yeah, so here we're gonna try to do a trick. Never mind.
It's called
we go Wicket's Grand Adventure, which is another one of those drop-in warps. Basically pulls Wicket into the inside.
Yeah, you're supposed to build a hatch there, but the game actually doesn't care if the hatch is built, so Wicket will just pathfind over there.
He makes that lovely sound while trying to find his way through the wall.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, you can't skip anything really in the bunker, like in this game, but in LEGO Star Wars 2, you actually can. And the reason why you can in LEGO Star Wars 2 and not this game is because if you see those bombs right there that you're going to build at the end of the level, those bombs start out as like buildable without doing any of the objectives in LEGO Star Wars 2. So if you just clip back through there, you can just build the bombs and immediately end the level. But here in TCS, they make you do the whole bunker in order to activate those bombs.
Yeah, and that's the longest level in the run, Battle of Endor. Yeah, but that level is extremely difficult. But we made it through. And the next level is probably one that many people remember if they played this game, is the fight against the Emperor, which is basically like kind of the final boss fight of the game in a way, even though it's only the 5th level of episode 6.
I have a very important bit of information for you from Casimus.
Go for it.
Casimus gives us $100 and says, first time donating, first time audience attending. Shout out to that. After being made to perform my best R2 scream during the Battlefront run, can Justin and Couch do their best Lego Yoda death sound impression?
Oh, you guys want to start with that?
We going down the row?
Oh, yeah, I'll try.
Okay. Okay. No, listen.
That did not come out the way I thought.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it. All right. Oh God, let me think. Let me cook here. It's like a.
No.
Yeah, well, I'll try my best. It's like, like that.
Yeah, but a bit more like core to it.
It's like.
Hey, Justin, can I say the line on this? So this is Jedi Destiny, and Jedi Destiny is the level in the game that has the least amount of gameplay because there's a skip in the level that skips the whole level. And we're going to see it here in a moment. We theorize that this is kind of an Easter egg that the devs left in because every other boss in the game has code in place that prevents you from doing this specific thing that we're doing here. But we're going to maneuver the Emperor into a certain way and then walk him towards this kill plane here. And fortunately, we can stun lock him here with some melee attacks. And just like in the movie, we push him off the edge, end the boss fight. He falls into the pit to his doom. Canonically, if you ignore episode 9, he's now gone. But, you may have noticed he had like 20 hearts up there. You're supposed to go through this whole song and dance through that whole room. There's a very extended boss fight, but we can skip all that.
And there used to be a trick called quick kill,
Yeah.
which was further in, you would do the same thing.
Yes, but that is the ultra kill version, so it's faster than quick kill.
But like he was saying, I mean, there's like debate is like, is this intended or does this just happen to be the one boss where they forgot to put the bounce back mechanic? So normally if you push a boss into a void, they just go and just bounce right back up onto the map. But this one just dies.
I think it's got to be intended.
Yeah, I think that's an Easter egg. That's my theory.
The crazy thing is there's like not an easy way to do it. The one at the start of the level is very hard. The quick kill is like kind of easy. Like any sort of process you have to do to push him off is not easy. So
They knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
we'll call up John Burton.
Yeah.
Ask him.
Someone bring him up.
Just a quick update. We're less than $200 away from finishing that bonus second run, any % run incentive per minute. I know we can get there before the end of this speed run, but it's going to go quick, folks. So get those donations in there and make sure to mark that incentive if you want it.
Awesome. All right, so this is the final level of episode 6, and this opening room is one of the big RNG sections of the run. There's 3 TIE fighters that come at you, and only 1 out of 3 of them will have a torpedo. But like you could get lucky and have a bunch or get none. So we're trying to just kind of cycle through ships here and find the torpedo ships. There's one. And we need a total of 8 torpedoes.
Yeah, and something we didn't mention earlier. So if you may remember, in the level Rescue the Princess in episode 4, we picked up a red brick by jumping kind of through a pipe into the ceiling. If you see the blue beams around the characters here, that is the effect of that red brick. It's called tractor beam, and it's helpful specifically in this level because it prevents enemies from kind of trailing away from you when they get near you. So it ends up saving time on average in this room. Obviously, there is an RNG element to this room, so it's kind of variable how much it saves, but it takes barely any time to get.
This I'm not getting very good RNG. There is something I did do there that was kind of a cool little trick. If you have both players pick up a torpedo on the same frame, you can actually duplicate it. And theoretically, if you were to do that perfectly, you would only need to kill 4 torpedo ships to get 8 torpedoes. I only got one dupe there, but that's a big RNG section. That would be an example of bad RNG, so shame on the game there. But we still made it through, and we're on to the interior portion of the level.
Yeah, and the interior portion is mostly going to be torpedo management. At the end of this level, we are going to get infinite torpedoes, which is going to let us basically not have to deal with this anymore. But as you saw, we currently do still have to accumulate them. So most of it is going to be sort of making your way through, getting enough torpedoes to destroy whatever the new block is, and then keep going.
Yeah, and the infinite torpedoes red brick is has an interesting story because in the original Lego Star Wars 2 game, the infinite torpedoes red brick was in Jedi Destiny, and then score times 10 was in Into the Death Star, and they switched it in this game. So now that score times 10 is in Jedi Destiny and Infinite Torpedoes is an Into the Death Star. So in LEGO Star Wars 2, I don't know if it's still part of the route, but at one point in the game's history, you would grab the Infinite Torpedoes red brick in Jedi Destiny, leave to the cantina and go buy the red brick, and then come back and do Into the Death Star with Infinite Torpedoes. But we can't do that in this game because they decided to switch the red bricks, and that's the only 2 red bricks that they changed going into the complete saga.
Kind of unfortunate because it'd be very useful in this level, especially at the beginning, if you didn't have to worry about the torpedoes.
Yeah, so now here we're in the end room. We're going to take advantage of the fact that the Falcon lets you auto-target to the side in any direction, unlike the X-Wing, which is why he can just kind of fly around and shoot everything. So now with all this destroyed, the core is exposed, but before we actually get the core, we're going to quickly pop into this cubby. There's infinite torpedoes. And then while that was going on, he fired a torpedo at the core. And now we're on our way out.
And this section is basically a complete auto-scroller. We're officially entering the boring 5 minutes of the run. If any point you're looking to, get up, take a stretch break, get a snack, whatever, this is the time to do it. We're going to be finishing up episode 6 here and heading into episode 3. Yeah. And the first level of episode 3 is an auto-scroller. It's what speedrunners dread, but there is one auto-scroller in this run, and it is coming up. We can maybe do some rapid fire donations, whatever, to get there to have some fun.
Yeah, I was going to say speedrunners dread it, but hosts, we love that.
Yeah, but for now, let's focus on where we're at, and that is, oh, wait, no, one more room. Oh, my God. I was not paying attention. There's 3 rooms. Yeah, I thought that was the 3rd one. All right, this is the final room of the level. And I'm just holding straight down and attack. This is super, super simple.
Yeah, fun fact, right now in Legends, Egg-88, everyone's favorite assassin droid, would have taken over the Death Star and been moments away from causing a droid revolution galaxy-wide. But unfortunately, it just exploded, so that's not going to happen anymore. Yeah, that would be
unfortunate.
Cool to see. R2-D2 turns on them, starts zapping around.
And there we go. That is episode 6. So what are we now done with? 4 out of the 6 episodes, only 2 to go. 3 and 5. 3 is actually the shortest episode in the speedrun. So we're going to be flying through episode 3 after the auto-scroller, which is the first level. But before we do that, once again, we're going to be restarting our game after it's saved to skip that final cutscene to save a little bit of time.
I never noticed that they played Yub-Nub here, even though by this point it would have been...
It would have been Victory.
It would have been Victory Celebration, yeah.
Right, yeah.
This is my favorite part of the run, whenever we're doing like a tournament or a race, and you have a really close race that's super exciting into this point, and then you have auto-scroller, cutscene, game reset, 10 seconds of movement, cutscene, auto-scroller, cutscene, and it's just like 7 minutes of, so how you guys doing?
We can get good character RNG here.
Yeah.
Let's see if we
yeah,
get
exciting.
some switches. Oh, that's a Cantina Civilian.
I remember the one time we were in Coruscant and we just started like covering the Olympics while they were going on.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good time.
A couple weeks away, though. So.
And
Yeah,
we have
away.
just met that bonus second run, any % run incentive for minute. Great job, everyone. We've got some new bid wars open too in the Super Mario Bros. 2 Return to Subcon, the final fighter choice, and the ending choice for the Dark Souls run coming up later tonight. But since we're in auto-scroller land, I'm going to go ahead and fire off a couple of these donies. We got $25 from the B1 Battle Droid who says, Roger, Roger, trans rights. Woo. 25 from Dan Tuinian who says, Star Wars, Lego, and a Linux mention? 3 of my favorite things.
Let's go.
My favorite Lego set is probably set 9495, Gold Leader's Y-Wing, but really there are too many for me to choose. $10 from Not Mega Blocks says, stay on brand. Target. Stay on target. $5 from Zazzles, who says, I'm so excited to see a Lego game on the GDQ stage. I'm slowly learning the free play run of this game myself. Some of my favorite Lego sets are the Star Wars Advent calendars. On my desk at work, I have Emperor Palpatine on his throne wearing a Christmas sweater with a cup of coffee and shooting Force lightning at me while I work. Perfection. Robo gave us $25 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation and said, I loved this game growing up. I always used Boba Fett with the exploding blaster bolts and just cleared every room so quick. To be honest, in this game, I think I'd be more scared of a normal stormtrooper with the exploding bolts than Darth Vader himself. Zaysaw sends in $50 and says, late to the party this year, longtime viewer, first time donating, love GDQ runs for calming, fun, and clever runs. My favorite part started with Stellar Blade and goes on all day today. BS, nice one-player, two-control moves there.
Awesome. I think that got us through most of the levels, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So there actually is like a couple strats we can do here to speed it up a little bit. There's 2 strats I'm doing. One is playing with 2 players. By having 2 players called in, it like makes the screen a little wider, and like the characters kind of push each other forward on the track. So that saves like 7 or so seconds. And then the other strat I'm doing is I'm hugging the corner of the direction the camera is going, and it kind of like pulls the camera in the correct direction. All in all, doing all the strats in this level can save you like 15 seconds over just doing it normally with 1 player. But it still isn't all. So it's like kind of an auto scroller, but there are some things that I'm doing to speed it up quite a bit. But I think something interesting to talk about. You mentioned one of the donations, someone's doing the free play speed run. So there are like all speed games, all sorts of different categories you can run. So we're doing the story mode run through, and in a casual playthrough of Lego Star Wars, you can't get all the collectibles in the level in story mode. So there's a game mode called Free Play, where you can come back with any character you want in the level, and you can kind of toggle through characters. And it's a way to get all the additional collectibles. We also have a speed run for that category, where you just try to beat all the levels in the free play mode as fast as possible. And that category is extremely broken. There's a glitch called a Yoda clip, which basically lets you clip through any ceiling in the game. And it's a super, super broken, fast-paced category. And it's really, really cool. It would be cool to showcase that here someday.
Yeah, I highly recommend watching it. It's a very different game, but it's equally cool.
Also, we are coming up to the end of the auto-scroller, finally.
Nice.
And into probably one of the more technical levels of episode 3. This is, yeah.
I think a top 3 hardest level in the run here.
Yeah,
maybe top
sure.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to start immediately by doing this. I believe it's frame perfect. He's going to pause buffer to try to get this frame perfect skip here to skip Grievous going through this door.
Nice. We got it.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, he can skip the cutscene there, and he can get to the door just before Grievous goes there. So yeah, that's the first one
Nice.
done.
Making it look easy.
Yeah. This room, he's going to do some tricky platforming here. You're always going to probably get shot at least once in that room, because there's so many droids. But coming up in this room, 2 rooms after this one, he's going to do... Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta turn on your extras.
Yeah. But you can appreciate how fast he's doing the menuing there. He's actually, there's actually multiple ways to move your cursor up and down in the menu. So he's actually pressing all the different ones just so you can move through that menu as quick as possible. Yeah, but in the room directly after this one, he's gonna be doing another drop-in warp out of bounds, which will let him skip this R2 panel here. That's another skip that does require a sound cue, so we'll be quiet for this section.
Oh, okay. I did get the out of bounds call in, but I did miss the second part of the skip where you have to jump exactly into the door. There is a backup here. Okay,
Nice.
that's the backup. So we do make it into the fight anyways. And this is the Dooku fight, which we are just going to skip.
Yeah, we're going to be using that super jump tech that we talked so much about earlier in the run. And normally this is like a 3-phase fight. Dooku goes up and down and you have to chase him around. But what we're going to do here is we're going to have R2-D2 get clipped out of bounds here. We're going to interrupt the super jump with the Force. The interesting thing here is that R2-D2 has much more restrictive out of bounds movement than other characters. He can't just jump all the way up. So we have to use this slope out of bounds to gain height there. So you see him circling there just to gain height to get up there.
And we're just leaving Dooku behind. You can see the boss bar, like, we're just out of here.
In this universe, he just got like sent to space jail upon arrival.
He forces R2 out of the way there so he can get this other like huge drop in warp to skip this falling elevator section here.
So, yeah, it's like rapid fire. This level is just nonstop hard skips.
And like after this, like most of the skips are done, but we are going to point out one weird thing that he is going to do. At the end of this section, he's going to change his resolution, and that is to set up a trick in Grievous later on.
Yeah, so this game has a lot of sort of interesting technical things going on with resolution changes and the frame rate changes and restarting the game. Because a lot of the tricks are, for reasons depending on the trick we don't understand, dependent on these settings. So there we go. He's set it to 800 by 600, which is a lower resolution. And what that's going to do is in the upcoming trick, it's going to give him a much higher chance of succeeding with, well, we'll see, it's called Grieve Cheese, but I guess we'll get to that
We
in a
still have
moment.
one more room to do in this level. I'm just switching it now just to get it ready for the next level. But this room is super simple. There's these Magna Guards that are very, very powerful. They're probably like one of the highest health enemies in the game, but we are just going to run right past them.
Yeah, you might have also seen him do an Alt-Tab there to delay the resolution change. That's because typically when we do resolution changes and refresh rate changes in this game, we want to do it during a cutscene. So if you pre-queue the setting change and then exit and then go into a cutscene and alt-tab, it will do the resolution change in the cutscene for free. Otherwise, usually it takes quite a couple seconds to actually do it.
All right, so yeah, we're now on 800 by 600 on a General Grievous, which is the shortest split in the entire run. If you do it perfectly, it's about 1 minute and 10 seconds, including cutscenes. This General Grievous fight, we're going to be doing a strat called Grieve Cheese, which allows you to kill Grievous without the fight ever progressing. So normally it's a scripted fight that, you know, he's scripted to do certain things based on his heart count. However, that check only happens if you damage him while on the center platform. So we're going to do a cool strat where we damage him off the center platform, which prevents the fight from ever progressing, and we're just going to repeat that over and over until he's no more.
So yeah, what you're going to see happen is he's going to jump over here with both characters, and while Grievous is going back to the middle of the center platform, he will sometimes, and for reasons we don't understand, the resolution change improves the odds, he will sometimes allow himself to be hit. So what he's doing right now is bringing Obi-Wan over to then bait Grievous, and then bring Obi-Wan back so Grievous goes back, and every time he does that, he's going to take some hearts.
Yeah, so actually the reason we do switch to the lower resolution is that this trick is more consistent with a stable frame rate. So when you're playing on 1920 by 1080, sometimes the frame rate will flicker between 59 and 60, but when you're on 800 by 600, it's in such a low resolution, you just have more of a steady 60 frame rate.
Yes.
Which allows the hits to happen more consistently, which I don't know why, but...
Yeah.
And then there at the end, the last heart, you can just take it normally, and that is a...
Yeah, and I'm going to switch my resolution back.
Ooh.
There we go.
Go.
Okay. Woo! Are we in? Oh. Let me just go back in the game. All right, now we're good.
Perfect. And that's Grievous.
Seamless.
Yeah, we love this game. Very technically simple, you know? Nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, shout outs to the production team for putting up with all the technical stuff
Yeah.
with this game. This was not an easy one to set up.
We've got a shout out for the couch here from $5 from Cardio Focus. Great job, Javi. The whole office is watching you.
Let's go. Got it pulled up on the TV.
Also, $500 from Mott. Loving the Lego Star Wars run. Lots of happy memories playing this series with my kids. Here's $500 for those happy memories.
Ooh.
Yeah, so now in Kashyyyk, this is where we're going to be seeing the Yoda movement we were talking about. So Yoda is really fast if you have the lightsaber out and you're jumping. So that's what WiiSuper's going to try to do the whole time.
Order 66 just happened, by the way.
Yeah.
So now you know, everyone's mad at us.
Oh, no.
Kashyyyk, this level is the ultimate test of exploding blaster bolts management and making sure not to blow myself up. Because there's a lot of like crowd control type sections where there's just a lot of enemies you need to clear out. And in this section, we have 3 Wookiees we have to free here. We gotta make sure to not leave a single trooper alive, because if I do, then the Wookiees can get stuck. They just like get confused. So I'm making sure to get every single enemy. So I just freed that guy. Now we're gonna go over here. There's 2 guys over here. I've never seen that. I'm gonna try to force this grapple, but there's so many extra enemies. This is RNG, by the way, how many enemies are here. I've never seen 4 guys here. And then we'll clear out this last guy, and perfect. And you see our whole pack of Wookiees coming over to these buttons here to lower this bridge. And this is like the final room. We were talking about rooms that have no skip. This is one of them. We're out of the first room. The next 2 rooms are pretty much just kind of running to the end. This room we're on a... Oh, wait, there's sand. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Look away.
Yeah, this is not good for any people who are not sand enjoyers. But yeah, in this room, there's this bridge. We normally have to go up to the bridge to shoot the targets, but thanks to the extremely overpowered auto-aim, we can just hit the targets from the ground like that and get right through that room. And this room, I don't really know what the point of it is. We just kind of run through it.
It's pretty elaborate, too. They have like all these droids like spawning down, but you can just run through and not take any hits.
And this final room, once again, is a really, my main focus here is just not blowing myself up.
Yeah, so up here there's going to be a little bit of precise jumping. Nothing too crazy, but basically it's just going to be avoiding taking this whole like boulder route up. But yeah, it's a very like mechanically straightforward level. Not really too many places for things to go wrong.
And right here at the end of the level, once you get past here, there's going to be you need to force up Yoda's ship from the ground, and that's actually one of the biggest uses of fast force. Normally, without fast force, that force will just take forever, and here it's going to be almost instant.
Yeah, and it's not just that it takes forever, so it takes a long time, is that it takes forever, so these guys will keep spawning, which means that if you get shot while they're spawning, the whole thing gets reset, so you have to try again. But with this,
Look at how fast this is going to be.
Yeah, you should be able to get it up before anyone spawns, and there we go. That's Kashyyyk.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see the time save of fast force if you haven't like seen the before and after, but there's probably like 12, 13 forces in that level. Like fast force legitimately saves probably about 15 seconds in that level. So it's a huge time save there.
And we are on to, we're already on the 5th level of episode 3. Like I said, this is the fastest episode we're flying through, and this is a very weird level. So I'm not sure many people know this, but the original Lego Star Wars video game that had the first 3 episodes, that game was made before Revenge of the Sith even came out in theaters. So this was an interpretation of the episode 3 storyline.
It's actually a cutscene, I think. The end cutscene of this level also uses a deleted scene from the movie.
Yeah, I don't even think, this is not quite very accurate. The entire, like, what's it, like the Emperor Yoda fight, or you guys know better than me. That is just not even in this game.
It is in the two-player battle arena, I guess, like the Senate level, but yeah, it's not in any level, and that's one of the big fights in that movie. So.
But yeah, again, right now it's mostly more Yoda movement. Again, you can see how fast he's sort of moving right now. And at the end, there's going to be a pretty big trick.
Yeah, so this trick in the next room is pretty precise. So the first thing that we got to do in this room is get rid of all these enemies. If the enemies are around, we can't do this trick. So we got another drop-in warp here, like the ones we saw in Camino. You can see straight ahead, there's like an arm in the way of the door. So we're going to utilize the deflect bolts there to get rid of those enemies quick, but we want to drop and warp Yoda behind this door. And to do that, we need to kind of time a pretty precise drop in with a pretty precise camera angle here to get him behind the door.
Try.
And that skips a pretty lengthy room. There's actually a fun story about that room. So that was kind of like one of the holy grail skips for a while earlier on, like in this decade when WiiSuper and I kind of were early in our careers speedrunning this game. And for the life of us and like everyone that was running the game, no one could find a skip there. And then a friend of the game and big Lego speedrunner, Los, mainly a Lego Batman guy, he's a big glitch hunter in the community. He installed the game on Steam for the first time because he heard there was, we couldn't figure out the library skip in Ruin of the Jedi. He's like, all right, I'll give it a try. 15 minutes into his time on Steam, he's like, hey guys, look, I found this. Yeah. And now we have library skip. So thank you, Los. Big shout out to that.
And I think you got a box of cereal for doing that.
Yeah, there was a cereal bounty on that. I don't think that ever got paid. I think Los is still owed 1 box of cereal for finding that.
Well, what type of cereal are you talking about?
I don't think that was
some like Lucky Charms or something? Or?
Yeah, he did donate earlier and did mention the cereal, actually.
Yeah. Got to pay that up at some point.
Yeah. Another quick drop and warp there to skip that platforming section. And here he's going to use the pillars. Yeah. Once you force it, it is a 1 try, but this room is pretty fast anyway. That trick doesn't save.
Yeah, I could clip out of bounds there through the roof to skip this, forcing these little blocks. It saves like 2 seconds. But unfortunately, it's only 1 try and I did not get it. It's kind of finicky. This is a pretty iconic level. The one level where you and your enemy have to work together to get to the end, and then have a really, really intense battle at the end that will certainly be, surely, very, very intense.
Yeah, mostly a relatively straightforward level, especially in this section. Later on, there's going to be a bit of a classic blunder one can make in this last section, because in most of these parts, if you die, you have to restart the whole room.
Yeah, it's like this is weird. Like, this is one of the only levels in the game that's like that, where if you die, you don't respawn; it restarts the whole room.
Yeah, and most of these rooms are not very long, but this room is. And at the very end, there's a jump that is a sort of a blind jump that if you're not able to get it correctly, you fall into the lava and have to redo this whole thing.
Classic blunder is a great way to put it.
Yeah.
This is one of those jumps where if you don't get it, there's a lot of
There we
like
go.
Twitch clips on the internet
Yeah.
of people having interesting reactions to that.
He's getting furious.
Yes. A small little optimization during the fight. You can make use of the AI's like faster attacks by swapping your character back and forth. It ends up saving a little bit of time over like doing jump
really,
slashes.
really intense fight there.
Yeah.
And that is episode 3 done.
Yeah, and another case coming up of episode finishing into very long cuts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Off battle intro. big
This is
cut.
the longest cutscene in the game, I believe.
It is, yeah.
actually
It's
the
longer
longest.
than Enjoy Factory.
But yeah, we're on to the very final episode of the run, episode 5. This episode has had quite the history, and for a decent portion of the game's history, people would say it was the hardest episode in the run, which is, unfortunate for the final episode of the run to hold that title. But first, we're gonna pop by the shop real quick, buy our final few red bricks, and we now have every single red brick we could possibly need for episode 5. We need all of them.
So this is what I was referring to at the start. The reason we do the routing this way is because in episode 5 is where we get the most benefit out of infinite torpedoes. We get good benefit out of fast force. So by doing each episode in this order, we get the red bricks where we want them.
Yeah, and one thing, and then we can get a couple donations in here. So we may have missed it because we didn't draw a lot of attention to it, but in the auto scroll at the beginning of episode 3, there was a red brick we picked up called Vehicle Smart Bombs, which we'll explain later on in this level, but it saves quite a bit of time in this level specifically, and it takes no time to get, so that's why we picked that one up there.
Yeah, but yeah, I think this is gonna go on for
Yeah, great
few
donation
minutes.
time here, yeah.
Let me off my leash. We got $100 from Caboose the Elf. You guys are speedrunning so fast that I think this one's a little bit not as timely. We're going to get this bonus second run. Let's go. And we definitely did get that bonus second run. $25 from Anorak. Happy to see TCS at GDQ, and I am excited for every runner's favorite level. Another one that we just blasted right past, General Grievous.
That's his favorite level. I don't know about everybody else.
Yeah.
$25 from Non-Existent Pumpkin. It might be the recency bias because I just built it while watching this very marathon yesterday morning, but my favorite Lego set might be the new 43,279 Wall-E set that comes with Wall-E, Eve, Mo, Hal, the cockroach, the plant, and a little trash cube. It's all prints, no stickers, and the bags were paper instead of plastic.
Oh yeah, they do that now. That's cool.
That's sick.
We also got $5 from the one and only Chewbacca. Have we had a Chewbacca Shriwook sound off from the bench yet? Can't finish a Star Wars run without one.
This one I'm better at. I think this one I can.
We'll let you take this one.
Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. What are we doing with Saga?
Go for it.
It's pretty decent. Pretty decent.
I mean, that's like, no, we can't beat that.
All
right.
I'll stop there.
Okay. Okay, yeah. We can stop there.
Yeah.
If you insist, I don't know.
So here we're now into the first level, episode 5, and it is the second to last vehicle level. The main mechanic here is the towing bombs here. He's going to tow one bomb here to blow up this first barrier, but you can actually skip most of these other barriers that you would normally need bombs for. If you remember in Gunship Cavalry, he flipped and then called in his player at the top of the flip, and that actually lets you get enough height to go over the barriers here. This is the last bit of menuing here. You can appreciate how fast he's scrolling through these. The fastest way to scroll through these actually is with the scroll wheel. Now he's going to skip this last barrier just by going off to the side a little bit and calling in the other player, and now that's all of these barriers skipped. Normally you'd have to drag a bomb through that entire section.
And here's another big RNG section, the Hoth Battle Arena. So we're going to see that use of the Vehicle Smart Bomb. So I'm just going to hold the special button, and you'll see everything on screen just blows up. That is what that red brick does. So I'm just going in circles and repeatedly blowing everything up on screen. And it's just like RNG on how quickly the enemies decide to spawn in. Like that was like average. I had to do
decent,
like
yeah.
a lap and a half. Ideally, we maybe only have to like a lap and a half is pretty good. If you can get everybody in only one lap, then that's like really good. Looks like this is a little weaker. One more guy.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. That's wave 2 of 4.
Yeah, now the AT-ATs come out, so you're going to have to do a wrap with the ship. So let's see where these first two AT-ATs spawn. One right there, and we can use 1P2C once again to do the wrap while getting the bomb here. Actually, if you get a very lucky case, you can get the two AT-ATs to spawn right next to each other. In that case, you can wrap both of them at the same time here. But this is the more typical case.
Oh, I died. That's okay. Got to start the wrap over.
Yeah.
Oh no, the bomb.
Oh no!
Wait, it's chilling.
Oh, it's like, it's ready. It knows.
Oh. Come on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've never seen that.
yeah, there's just so many enemies. Like, it's so easy for an enemy to just run into your bomb or you overshoot. So, yeah, that's good bomb control there. Yeah, one final AT-AT here, and you can blow up the rest of these enemies with Vehicle Smart Bomb to end off this first level of Episode 5.
Yeah, there's the AT-AT.
There's actually a faster strat you can use to wrap these. If you start a wrap and then backflip over the AT-AT, you can instantly wrap it. But I don't think anyone does that strat yet.
Yeah.
But it does technically save time.
That's half battle.
There you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of battles, I do just want to shout out that final fighter choice for Super Mario Bros. 2 Return to Subcon is heating up. Toad is way out in front with $550, but my favorite Luigi is in second. Can we get some Luigi donations in the chat?
Gotta be Luigi fans back here.
Oh, boy, that silence is
Ooh.
deafening.
Oh, no Luigi fans?
No Luigi fans in there. Okay, there we go. The year of Luigi
Yes.
continues in 2026.
The decade of Luigi.
Kuraway sends in $100 and says, "Let's go, WiiSuper. What a great thing you're doing today. Good luck on the rest of the run."
Yo,
Not much
thank
left
you,
at this point.
All right. Get through the load screen. There
Okay,
we go.
okay.
Yeah, that was
It took a
interesting.
That
moment,
was a
yeah.
very long load screen.
Wide load there.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite levels in the game. There's so much like little nuance to escape from Echo Base here, and right off of the bat, you're gonna notice a ton of 1B2C in this level. So it's a lot of like building and like bottleneck management. So we're gonna attempt a kind of hard to identify strat here, but based on where he was standing there, he was able to dodge the explosion for that first bomb. And this is another great use of exploding blaster bolts. You can just get rid of that little heater thing there with one shot instead of shooting it like 4 or 5 times. And once we get past this room with the two snowtroopers chilling by the coffee machine, we get to see a pretty cool, pretty precise trick right here after this. So normally you're supposed to go rescue C-3PO using like a bomb cart here, but the cycle of the bomb cart here in this right room, it goes really close to a wall in the left corner of this room, and because of that, if you stand in a very precise spot, you can get clipped out of bounds. We'll see if we can get it on the second wrap around here.
So normally I count the amount of pixels on the screen here, but this is a different monitor than the one I have at home, so I don't know how effective. Okay,
There we go.
So once we go through the door, we're gonna want to hear a boom from everybody because this is boom skip.
Yeah, this is boom skip.
So we'll want to hear booms.
Hold on.
Oh.
Boom!
I give that 3 out of 5.
Yeah, it was a
booms.
3 out of 5. Yeah,
three
yeah.
3 out of 5 booms there.
Early clip would have been 4 out of 5.
Yeah. So onto this room. We're doing this strat.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
gonna be doing the cart
Oh,
clip.
exciting. Oh, right. So this is the cart clip here. So this is very similar to the speeder clipping we saw in episode 4. You can use the cart to clip Han Solo out of bounds here and do some pretty precise out of bounds movement. You have to like stay on the ledge here. And you can
Nice.
just like tightrope walk around. That is significantly harder than WiiSuper made it look there. That is pretty tricky out of bounds movement.
Saves about a whopping half a second.
And we can do a death warp here. So you cannot, I'm sorry, I'm looking at an old strat. So you bring both players up there so you can get the two different, or the sets of buttons on one pass through. I was thinking of like a 2020 strat there. Uh-oh.
Oh.
What button does he want?
3PO being a little silly there.
And one more skip here to end off the level. This is going to be a blink and you miss it there, but Han Solo on the right side here, after we blow up these barriers here with exploding blaster bolts, he can do a quick jump on top of the Falcon, and that skips a pretty extensive part of that room. Casually, you have to go like push some boxes, rescue some tauntauns, get yeeted up on top of the Millennium Falcon. But with that jump there, you can skip basically the entire room and just, be on your way.
There we go. That is 2 out of 6 down. We got only 4 levels left. And the next one is, man.
Historic level
Yes.
coming up.
Probably everyone, like this, if you were to make a tier list of levels, this one is going in F tier for everybody.
Yeah. So Falcon Flight, if you're all familiar with the section where they're inside of the asteroids.
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds, that's right. Not a terrible level up until the very end.
Well,
but
it's just boring.
yeah, it's boring. It would be a whatever level if it wasn't for the late game massive RNG you get, but we'll get to that in a second. But the start of it's going to be kind of similar to Into the Death Star, where it's just sort of going around and destroying these guys. But this time, because it's not torpedoes, and because you would have infinite torpedoes anyway, there's not like an RNG factor.
So use 2 players here. Oh, sorry. We're going to use 2 players here to speed this up. We got one more. Where is it at?
I think it's on the
missed
right,
one.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll go chase that down. There we go.
There you go.
That's the opening room. Super simple. But yeah, so the next 3 rooms of this level, normally, if you don't have infinite torpedoes, you need to collect torpedoes from the asteroids in your path. But because we have infinite torpedoes, we can skip that, which saves us a ton of time. But also, because we have infinite torpedoes, we're just going to be driving in a straight line through these next 2 rooms here. It's going to be absolutely exhilarating.
Probably can get a donation.
Yeah,
if
we can
you'd
get 1 or
like.
2 donations in.
Well, I'd be happy to. And in fact, we've got $15 from Sonic7, who says, "Good luck, Justin." Big inspiration to the whole LEGO community. The big invitation to anyone who thinks this run is cool to learn a LEGO game speed run. Gonk. We also received $30 from the letter M. So many great memories of playing the original version of this game growing up. So happy to see it at GDQ.
We're still going in a straight
Yeah, still
line.
going. You got a few more
Okay.
left.
I just received this one, $25 from Anonymous, who says, "Donating for my kiddos, Kenzie and Kaylin. They love watching GDQs, and one day I will make sure they can attend in person. Love you, kiddos."
All right. We got 2 more barriers here. We made it through the very, very treacherous asteroid field. And I'm really, my positioning here is pretty specific to make sure that they don't target the same, little shield thing on the wall. Because I want to be able to just shoot 2 torpedoes with each player. So I 1, 2, and then once these 2 hit, I'm in the correct spot that they just instantly target the other 2 without double targeting. But this is the iconic boulder. This boulder spins in random directions and random speeds, and there's 6 targets we have to hit, and they have to come to the front. So sometimes, if you get really unlucky, the targets can just sit on the back for, theoretically forever. But that's 3, 4.
This is a
slow
pretty
down a little
forgiving
bit.
bowl.
Oh,
Never mind. Yeah.
Where's it going?
And the other one also
Wait, maybe?
missed.
Oh, it came back.
That
wow.
was crazy. There you go. Good job.
All right, good
Excellent.
RNG on the boulder.
Yeah, that is a boulder. That is I guess, a part where you could easily lose a minute late game.
It has happened before.
Yeah.
All right, and we were talking about strats where we change our refresh rate. I am going to really quickly change my refresh rate to 50 hertz. We had it on 60. We're going to leave it on 50 for the rest of the run for a couple tricks that require it in these final 3 levels.
Yeah, the final 3 levels, affectionately known as the Gauntlet, not as bad as they used to be. I think that's why, as WiiSuper said, episode 6 is arguably harder now. But back then, this used to be like the big closer.
Probably have time for a couple of donations here in this opening cutscene at Dagobah.
Cool. Well, here's $25 from Core Competence, who says, "You forgot a mini kit."
Oh, shoot.
And another $25 from MVH, who says, "I hate snow. It's cold and it's irritating and it..." Wait. Donating for the best movie in the series, Empire. And for my favorite Star Wars Lego set, number 75252, the Ultimate Series Imperial Star Destroyer.
That is a very, very good answer.
Well, if you didn't like snow, we're in the swamp now.
Yeah.
I think I'll take
go.
snow over the swamp, but
And I do briefly
each
want to
their
shout
own.
out, we've got some really, really nice donations coming in from the Twitch charity tool. $5 from McLemon's Vivo, as well as $5 from Miki Toto 27, and $25 from That Peachy Kid 26. Thanks for using the Twitch charity tool.
Awesome, and here we go on to Dagobah. Starting off with just skipping building these little ramps, just by pushing R2 up. And in this next room, we normally have to kind of go around, like you see, go around to the right. But there's just this convenient little island here that R2 can land on to avoid the water, and then we'll fly over again and just skip the entire first room. And the camera can stretch just enough that R2 can load the next room while leaving Luke in. And this is Dagobah button skip. So normally you have to rise these buttons out from the water, but they're still just sitting in the water, and they're high enough that I can just stand on them while they're still in the water and just skip that section entirely. And we got another big skip coming up here. I'm gonna drop out R2 while standing on this rock, and it'll manipulate R2 to go past a cutscene trigger for us. And that just skipped like an entire section of the level.
Yeah,
Like
like
a
3 minutes. Yeah, 2
Yeah.
minutes about.
that skipped the entire sequence of the level where Luke learns about the Force. So next time we see him after we enter the next room, he's just going to be like a Force. He's going to be able to use the Force. He's basically a Jedi already. So we skipped the whole training montage.
So yeah, there we go. Skip the whole thing, but it doesn't matter because he's just magically a Jedi now.
Oh yeah, Yoda's here now as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yoda. We're gonna take advantage of the fact of how fast Yoda is by just blasting through this section. It's from pretty tricky movement here, actually. I'll drop out Luke.
This is like one of my favorite movement rooms in the whole game. Like just kind of the way you space jumps, you're trying to maximize the amount of time Yoda's in the air, because when he's on the ground, he walks really slowly, even if it's just for a brief period. So there's just some really cool minor movement optimizations here that are really fun to play around with. And we also have a quick boss fight with not Darth Vader, because it's the Phantom Darth Vader here. I say quick, it is very quick, and we can gain movement during those cutscenes by doing the little force tool like we did in Theed Palace early on in the run. Skip the little puzzle over there by just jumping on the box. And, I mean, the fight is almost over already, and that's that. And we have a pretty cool section of 1P2C here to end the room. So we're gonna bring up this bridge just a little bit so that we can get across. You can't stand in the water, but you can, or you can't go underwater. Like if your head goes under the water, you die, but you can stand on it just fine. So bring both players over here. We need to get this box off the top so we can blow up this barrier that's blocking the X-Wing that's in the swamp from the beginning of the level. Because Luke has got to go save his friends.
There's so many bats.
That is an interesting pattern of bats there I have not seen before. So once we blow this up, we'll be able to force the X-Wing, and we'll be on our way to Bespin for our final 2 levels, 2 of the more exciting levels in the run.
And this is one of those moments where fast forwards really helps.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, this would take like 10 seconds.
That's a very slow force.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, back in December of 2022, Summoning Salt made a world record history of this game. Really good video. Definitely would recommend it if you haven't seen it. And at the time that he made that video, Cloud City Trap was, which is the next level we're about to play, is regarded as the hardest level in the run. And it was for many, many, many years. And it was even worse because it was the second to last level in the run. Luckily, there have been some advancements and like skip development in the level that make it a little easier. It is still an extremely hard level, but it is a little easier now. There's a couple new skips in this level that make it a little more bearable.
Yeah, but this is another one of those levels where pretty much every room has a skip in it. The way this level is typically played is basically in every room there's a fight with Darth Vader, and we're going to be able to skip all of them here. So coming up on this platform here, you're supposed to use R2-D2 to lift a bridge here. That's the panel right by the stormtroopers. We're actually going to skip all that. We're going to set up another super jump here to get R2 to jump through the door to the next room. So he's going behind here to get him stuck. And then he just calls him in. Now he's at the next.
There you go.
Yeah. Here's another use of exploding blaster bolts. He's going to deflect the stormtrooper bolt, and since you deflect the bolt, it thinks the player shot it, so it's going to give it exploding properties. You normally need to build a turret to get through that section. And up here is the first part of the Darth Vader fight. He's standing in the carbonite chamber, and you're supposed to, activate the steam vents and, hit him several times here. But WiiSuper is going to just fly over this entire boss fight right here.
Very nice.
Nice. First 5-panel fly.
Yeah. There's a lot of hidden collision there that actually, if you fly over the wrong spots, you'll just completely cancel your hover. So he does need to fly in a pretty precise path there. So next, normally you would be going up into another room where you would meet Darth Vader again, but we're going to skip this part also with another super jump. This is the skip that obsoleted previously the most notorious skip in the game, which was DB2 skip. This is the Darth Vader transition skip. He cancels him to get out of bounds there. And then he's going to ride up this very, very steep slope that you can see right there and just fly all the way to the end there. And that skips a very long fight.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot of clapping. There's a lot of very hard tricks here. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice try, nice try.
Yeah, with this one, you're supposed to use R2 to, I think, enable a glass bridge, but you can just jump over it.
Just a well-spaced jump there.
It's just a well-spaced jump.
Yeah. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Going for another tricky jump there. Doesn't get it, but that doesn't really save that much time. But yeah, that's a pretty good Cloud City trap for a marathon run.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything first try.
Awesome.
Nice.
We have an iconic cutscene here, and then, well, wait for the reveal. Oh my God.
What? In the movies, that wasn't the Lego Polaroid. It was just normal Polaroid.
Yeah. That's the only difference.
I
Yeah.
thought you said this was canon.
Almost canon.
Probably have time for a donation or two. We have another very lengthy cutscene to open the next room or level.
Well, I'd like to take this time to give some updates on the incentives that we've got going on. The bid wars for weapon skin choice in Jet Runner, the final fighter choice in Super Mario Bros. 2 Return to Subcon. That weapon skin choice is starting to heat up a little bit. Synth Blaster just surged ahead with $100, but Midnight Sun's coming up with $75. And the final fighter choice in Return to Subcon, Toad, still holding strong at $550. But we managed to scrounge up somebody looked through the couch and found some change to throw on Luigi. He's got $185 right now.
Nice.
Ending choice for Dark Souls, Dark Lord is way out in front. But I think if we got more than one people here who probably want to link the fire, let's see that. Let's get those numbers up.
Awesome. And with that, we are officially heading into the final level of the run. And this level is pretty complicated, to put it simply. We're going to be doing the same strat that we did back in Death Star Escape, where we load the Millennium Falcon in the end room, and then backtrack far enough that it deloads, and then reload it again. And that causes that glitch where the end trigger becomes active early without having to do any of the puzzles at the end of the level. However, in this level, it's not just walking back in the level. The fastest way to do it is clipping out of bounds using an elevator. So the process of deloading and reloading the Falcon in this level is pretty complicated and dramatic.
Yeah, this is sort of the expert version of Falcon List, which is why we call it Grand Theft Falcon.
But first, we got to get there. Let's hop right into it.
Yeah, so in the first half, it's all pretty straightforward. At the start, there's going to be a very quick Boba fight that it's not going to obviously kill Boba Fett, but it's going to sort of push him further into the level. So we'll see if WiiSuper can get those first blaster bolts out to get the quick hearts. Okay, gets 1 heart. That's pretty good. And yeah, the rest of the fight's relatively straightforward.
One more hit.
There we go. So with that, Boba Fett's going to start backing up, and the first big trick of the level here is going to be door skip.
And it cannot be emphasized how much time the skip saves.
Yes.
Way more than you think. So normally we're going to chase Boba down the hallway here, plays a cutscene, we have to run all the way back for 3PO, but instead we can just use the door to clip us out of bounds and walk to the next section, skipping over 2 minutes of gameplay probably. Just like that.
So now we're going to kill enough stormtroopers to lose aggro on the remaining ones, and this is where the setup is going to start off for the glitch that we were mentioning. So right around now is where we cross that invisible line that loads the next room. And the next room is the one where, again, the Falcon is, but currently with the door closed. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to load the next room, we're going to then come back, and we're going to try to get out of bounds here. It's sort of a difficult jump because you need to basically bail out on the elevator right after you like exit where the, there we go. Perfect, out of bounds. And now WiiSuper's going to take a very precise jump here to try to hit the line, and
that will work.
That looks good. That looks good. And gets the respawn on top of the elevator, so immediately can go through the transition. Sure, yeah, why not? We don't want the helmet
off. We don't need that anymore.
We don't need that anymore. And for the most part, this section is going to be pretty straightforward. There is a risk of you can get into a very long animation where Lando kisses Leia's hand, and that will often happen right as that door closes, and it loses you like 5 seconds or something.
Yeah, definitely don't press the attack button while Lando is near Leia.
Yeah.
Or he gets a little creepy.
Yeah, and the big thing we're going to be skipping at the end of this level is normally there's a whole section where you're right next to the Falcon and you have to kill off like waves and waves of stormtroopers right at the end. But since we made that door active, we can actually just fly directly to the Falcon and skip that whole part here. And this is the last skip of the run.
Yes, so right now we're going to enable this to then do box clip here, which is going to basically get Chewie out of bounds. There we go, good box clip. And now Chewie has crossed the door. And we're going to navigate here underground. You know, they're trying to get you. There's
Spider Chewie.
Yeah, Spider Chewie. They can't tell that there's a massive floor in the way, but that's their bad.
Yeah.
And we're coming up to the final trick of the run, and time will end when I enter the Falcon. But first, we got to do bridge skip. Normally, we have to raise the bridge, but we're going to damage boost R2 across the gap to skip it. It's pretty tough, though. All right, we missed it the first time. That's okay.
A very precise movement here.
Sometimes the enemies can spawn. I have to clear them out real quick. That's not going to work either.
Yeah, the problem is R2 can't just fly across. He needs one or two hits there. That is perfect. So yeah, time is going to end right as we go around the corner here into where the ramp should be. And time.
GG.
That is all 6 episodes of LEGO Star Wars: A Complete Saga, any percent. A super, super fun ending to the run, and definitely a long time coming. Like we said, this is the first time we've ever been able to showcase the game here at GDQ, and it was a super, super great time. We got one final victory cutscene here.
Yeah.
We got him.
Falls head first into the Falcon.
Got a black eye.
Yeah, from the massive fall he took.
Yeah.
All right. And that's the final cutscene here. We'll turn on the finished story cutscene as we decide to do some shout-outs here. So obviously, this is just going to be a huge shout-out to the entire LEGO Star Wars, the Complete Saga speedrunning community. A very, very tight-knit and close community. Obviously, shout out to Zach, our current world record holder. All the runners. You guys are gonna have to help me out. We got Senor and Chess Wiz, T Fresh, Frostbite.
Jared,
E Roadhouse,
Rico, E Roadhouse. So many amazing people. So many people that are, close friends. To this day. So, like I said, it's been a long time coming. I would say. As a word of motivation to anyone who submits to GDQ and doesn't get in, we've been submitting this game for almost 7 years, and it finally got in this time. So never, never, never give up submitting.
Yes.
You will. Your time will come. Just keep growing your community. Keep doing everything you can. And this was an amazing time. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say. I will. If not, we can throw it back to the event. I think our time is up here. Any final words?
No,
Good?
just check out the LEGO community. I'm sure if this isn't the game for you, there is one, but this is a great community.
And there is one final thing, actually, I forgot to mention. We are working on a new tutorial. I mentioned this in the interview on Tuesday. We're working on a new like super high quality tutorial that's going to have like really descriptive ways of how to learn every single level in the game and become a speedrun expert, just like all of us. So that'll probably be out at some point in early March. I'm not going to say an exact date because we're not 100% sure, but we are working very hard on it. So be sure to just keep an eye out for that if that seems like something that would interest you. That's the final thing I think I wanted to say. So if that's it, thank you everybody for having us on, and we will throw it over to the host. Have a good day.